Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Lady Borgia here at Interview You Stories. And yes, it is the regular edition. It is not a special edition. It is not You Stories, Beauty and the Beast, but that will be on next Monday with my co-host Bridget Snyder at 7 o'clock. Lady Borgia Live will be returning again this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I am firing up the YouTube machine. And getting rolling again after my absence. I've noticed after looking that I've had 3 different times in the 6 months I've been on that I've been sick, but I'm keeping rolling. So, but and also we've had a tremendously hot summer. So, what are we going to do? Let's see. Oh, hold on, that's popped up on my computer. I have no idea why. But I'm going to say hello, and then I'm going to introduce my most fabulous guest, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to chat tonight. Do remember, everyone, that every single live that I have is a community event, and it is not any hashtag, anything. It has no name. It will, other than YouTube. It is a YouTube community. So anybody who's a viewer, you don't have to have an active channel that you post on, because I didn't for years, not until 6 months ago. Or you can be a creator, just have fun, enjoy each other, chat in the chat and make some fun. And remember to come back, please, afterwards and comment, because people may come by. Also, don't forget that there is a list from Professional Student of new people who are interested. No sub for sub, nothing like that. Just people having fun and making friends and having a fun time. If you could, please tweet this out, and we're going to get rolling again. I know I have been absent, but like I said, the YouTube machine is firing up. Hello, Amo. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Paul. Wonderful to see you all. And I'm going to say hello to my wonderful guest tonight. Oh, and that's the other thing too. Feel free to ask questions, participate, chat along, whatnot. Have fun, because that is what we do here. And I have some other people who are, my goodness, we have other things coming up. Don't forget to look in the description box for the link to Gemma's channel, and don't forget to look in the description box for the schedule, because we have a bunch of things coming up. We've got You Stories. We've got some special things. In October, we have a really fun event coming up. We're going to have another adult party edition, but it's going to be a costume party. And yes, it's 18 and older only. But that will be the 24th, the Wednesday before. Oh, wait, Halloween is on a Wednesday. It's going to be a week before that. So get your costumes ready so you can play along. And if you're blushing, nobody can see it because you're in the chat. No, don't worry. It's not that bad. We do get silly. It gets a bit adult humor, but it's not horrid. But please feel free to chat along and have fun. And Divine Tiffany, wonderful ghostly iron pistol. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see you. Yes, I am back Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. Lots of new shows, lots of new things coming. And like I said, next Monday will be Beauty and the Bees with my co-host Bridget Snyder again, and another guest. And it'll be every other. So check the description box for Gem's channel. You have to check her out afterwards if you haven't. And oh, you came running here. You're awesome. True Resident Evil fan base. Yep, that's what we do here. Have fun, and I love having fun. Well, I am here every Monday and Wednesday, True Resident Evil, and I have 3 or 4 shows now, plus a bunch of special editions. So I'm back from being away for a bit because I was sick, but I'm here, and like I said, the YouTube machine is going. All right, and I had to say my guest tonight, she was originally scheduled several weeks ago, and I, for the first time ever, had to reschedule because I finally, you guys have seen me come on sick with ice packs on my wrists when I had what was fevers and stuff. It was in March or April. I don't know when it was. It was still cold out, and I was still coming on. And God bless you all. You guys are still coming to watch with me a mess and everything. But this time I really was just too sick to push it through. So Gemma was wonderful, and she she postponed it and has been checking on me since then. And thank you to everybody, Ghostly Iron Pistol, and everything else like that for keeping around and all your wonderful comments and your messages while I've been sick. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. It's been absolutely wonderful. And so I've been watching you from the TV and not commenting as much because you can't comment from the TV, but I still see you and I will be commenting more soon as soon as my hands aren't so swollen. All right. Yes, I found out by one of our vids if I was okay. Yeah, I got hit pretty hard for a bit, but I have rallied and I'll be on again on Wednesday. I was on last Wednesday, but it wasn't as long and still gearing up a bit, but that's okay. And oh, you're watching from work. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. And without further ado, oh, hold on a second. I just got Roasted Studios. Love your hair. Thank you so much. I'll be doing a video the next time I do my hair. I figured out how to do it myself with professional products. And that took a really long time. There's a huge story behind it that I did. That was my very first live stream for Lady Borgia Live way back at the beginning in March, but my very first live series show, which this is Interview You Stories, which is spun off a whole bunch of shows from that. Anyway, I have a lot of ideas and a lot of friends with ideas. But Frank, hey, what's up? Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is my friend Frank, or the Morbid. I have not seen him a bit. He will be at the costume party a week before Halloween. And actually, he will be coming on soon again. He's been gone all summer. And we're going to hear about what he's been up to. But I'll be putting that in the schedule in the description box as soon as I have the date. Don't forget to check out the schedule in the description box. I do a lot of typing for you all with my chubby hands. And I will add that date soon. We've got a special show with Angel about incarcerated women. We've got all kinds of things going on. And I've got my seltzer with lime juice and raspberries to keep my throat going. Okay. Yes. Awesome. Frank is super excited to be here. I am super excited to have you here. I am done with summer now. It has been fun, but the heat needs to go away now. By the way, Frank, is it hot there? Because here, you're 2 days ahead of me. If for anybody who doesn't know, Chicago's weather is about 2 days before New York's, and he's Chicago, I'm New York. And oh my God, it's supposed to be 98 degrees on a high coming this week, and it's already hot here. Oh my God. So without further ado now, for real, I introduce to you my wonderful girl, Gemma. How are you doing tonight, Gemma?
I'm excited. I'm happy to be here again, Lady Borgia. I appreciate you. I'm really happy, excited to be here.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you here. Jess Rigby. Oh, you're ready for Halloween, Christmas, and everything. I hear you too. What about you, Gemma? Are you ready for Halloween and Christmas and everything?
Yes, I love Halloween. Love it.
Oh, I do too. I'm so excited. I have so many things. Before we went on, I was showing Jem some of my special effects makeup, and I just got a bunch of neon stuff and other stuff. So I'm going to have a lot of videos coming out, as many as I can handle, between Halloween and Christmas and whatnot. This is my time of year. I love fall and winter in the city, so we're going to be having some of that. And Gemma and I have a new thing that's coming where Gemma and I are going to be getting into makeup together, aren't we, Gem?
Yes, we are. I'm excited. Yay.
I'm excited too. Hold on, let me make sure this isn't, I'm not seeing you come up and it's not supposed to be just on me. There we go. Let's pop you up for a second. Yeah, this is really interesting, guys. I have a new show with Bridget SNYDER. It's every other Monday. It's called You Stories, Beauty and the Bees. And it's all about makeup and whatnot and this, that. And it's not just for women, it's for men too. And in fact, I'd love to get some men on that know about makeup, fashion, whatnot. In fact, Benjamin is very good with all that stuff. Well, with cologne and everything. I don't know if Benjamin does makeup, but it would be very interesting. Well, the interesting thing is Jen was saying, because of her autism, she doesn't wear makeup. She hasn't worn it since, what was, you said 18, right, Jem?
Yeah, 18, my 18th birthday, long time ago.
And we're going to get into more about everything about Jem, but this is really interesting, something her and I are going to be doing together, so keep an eye out. She's almost 30 now. She's saying, you know, I'm interested. She really liked the show, which I was very flattered. I'm going to have to tell Bridget she's going to be very happy. And she was interested in getting into some makeup for herself. And except she has the sensory issues where she's sensitive to it. And I said, well, I can help you out with that. So I was thinking about it, and we were talking about it, and I said, you know, there's probably a lot of women with autism, and men too, because there's men that also wear makeup, that, you know, maybe we could do a bit of a series on the, you know, things that she can try out that she might like, and I can help her out with it. And so we're going to do a series about, you know, beauty and makeup and people, you know, women with autism. And
Yeah.
Gem's going to learn about it and share it with other people who have autism and what might work for them. And I'm going to help out with all the stuff that I know, and even some of the special effects stuff, because I mean, God knows you love Halloween and everything else like that too. So we're going to have some videos and fun stuff coming from you and from the makeup angle. And
Yeah.
I'm super excited to do that with you. That's going
Yay.
to be fun.
Me too.
So,
Yay.
yes, Roasted Studios. Yes, Gemma is a highly inspiring young lady. Yes, she is. And that's right, Amo. Amo says what I say all the time. Gemma is a gem. And well, you truly are, and I love her as a friend. And originally it started because I was calling her Gemma, and that's wrong. Her name is Gemma. And I was like, well, I remembered because she's a gem. And I said because she truly is. And we're going to get into those things. Michelle, I have a little bit of autism in me. Well, you may well enjoy the series that it's going to be a video series that we're going to try out. We're going to work it out how it's going to work and whatnot, but we're going to do a makeup series together and what works for, you know, women with autism or men with autism, you know, because
yeah.
I mean, especially the foundation stuff, I'm probably one of the only makeup channels. Well, I'm not just a makeup channel, but it is a big section of my channel that I don't wear foundation. I think I've worn it once. Yeah. And I have one video that I did not edit, but I don't like the feeling on my skin.
Yeah.
So, and I know you were saying that it's similar. So, although the eyes don't bother me at all, I love eyes.
Yeah, I love your eye makeup. How you do it, it's always so perfect. I like the way how you curve it near your eyelashes here. I'm like, how do you do that? You always have it so it's like
Well,
touching the edge bit. It's interesting.
thank you. Well, it comes from my painting history, and then also my mother was a model, and I've been terrible about getting my tutorials up. I tend to be a little bit picky about the lighting, and then, oh, I didn't like that. So I've had things that I've deleted and whatnot, but there'll be a lot more tutorials coming. I had a lot of people asking and being like, okay, if the lighting's not perfect, you won't die. Will you please just put them out and show us how you do it? So I took it, I was like, okay, if people are asking, that's a compliment. And so I will be having, I do have tutorials in there in a playlist and reviews and whatnot from ways back, but I haven't put a good one out in a while, and I'm going to be putting them out regularly. That's my favorite thing to do, actually, is the artistry and all of that, the beauty, special effects, and fantasy. And Nathan likes drums. How are you? Mama Styles, how are you? So that'll be really fun, and I will help you learn how to do that too, and be having tutorials on my channel like I originally meant to do. I know I got away from it for a little bit. Paul Mitchell David Bain, how are you? He says, hi, Jenna. So I wanted to talk to you about, you did something really interesting. For anybody who doesn't know, Gemma is autistic, and we'll do quickly, I know a lot of people know her. We'll do a little bit of background, and then we'll move into some really interesting things that I wanted to ask her about. Gemma, when did you find out, and I already know this, that you had autism?
Okay. I found out back in 2013. I got diagnosed on the 6th of February is when my diagnosis paper came through. But my mum had always kind of found out that I'd had issues quite a few years before that, but officially I've been diagnosed since 6th of February 2013.
Right. And you said before that, I know when we had, for those of you who don't know, we have once monthly disability discussion. I did it once, and it was so popular, people asked for it again. So that will be coming again. And Gemma was on the second one. So I do know a fair bit about it. Also, I'm friends with her. We talk often daily. So I know her well, but if you don't know, you're going to know well. Mama Styles, oh, I didn't know that. She says her mom teaches kids who have autism. That's really cool. I
Oh
did not know
wow.
that. So I know you also had issues with anxiety first before you found out you had autism, correct?
Yes, I got diagnosed with general anxiety disorder back in 2012. That was through having depressive episodes, and I went to my GP, who told me that it's just temporary, that I'll get better, and it got worse, and then it got to the point where my dad, my auntie, who's a mental health nurse, took me back and was like, nope, this has got to stop, so we need to get help. And then the mental health link worker counsellor who I saw then said to me, do you think there's something else that you've got? I'm like, uh, don't know what you're aiming at. And he was like, I think there's something else, Gemma. Like, we need to do some tests. I'm like, okay. Took about another 3 months before I went back to see him. And he's like, I think you're on the autistic spectrum. I was like, uh, what? He's like, you know what autism is? I went, no. So I came home, got onto my iPad. I'm like, what is autism? And I read all these symptoms. I was like, yes, yes, yes. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, mum. phone my phone
Sound a
my
bit too
mum.
familiar, yes?
Yeah, and if the checklist was, it was like 15 different symptoms. I was like, mum, help. And she's like, what? She went, tell me something I don't know. And I like sent her this checklist on the email. She's like, Gemma, I have got all this here already. She went, I was going to tell you. I'm like, tell me what? Yeah, that this is what you do. I'm like, oh, nice to know, mum. Thanks. And then
Yeah,
about yeah,
definitely I might want to know about it. Thank you. Go
yeah.
ahead.
And then it turns out my mum had all books out about me. She'd gone to the library, she'd researched, she'd gone to my auntie who's a mental health nurse. And my auntie's like, oh, didn't we already know that? Didn't we already know Jem is a bit different? And we're like, oh, charming, thanks. Everyone's talking about me behind my back. And then she's like, no, 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 Jem, it's not like that. I'm like, well, it is to me. I don't know what you're trying to say about me. And then
Yeah,
we went to,
I feel you
yeah,
on that because if there was something going on with me and I didn't know and people were talking about it, I definitely would feel a certain way about it, you know. I feel you
yeah.
on that.
And then we went to the doctors. I saw my counsellor, and I was like, "Look, something's wrong with me. I feel ill. I'm not eating. I'm not sleeping." And he was like, "I'm going to refer you for behavioural therapy." I was like, "Okay." So went to see a behavioural therapist, and she then said, "Oh, I think you need to see an autism therapist." I went, "What?" And she went, "Yeah, I think you've got autism." I was like, "Oh, okay." Wait 6 months to have that referral done. Saw two psychiatrists, psychologists, and within that 6 months, I was assessed as an emergency because I was feeling suicidal. I was feeling really low.
Yeah.
And then they said to me after 6 months, they're like, yeah, you're autistic. I'm like, oh, okay. And it took me about 3 months to actually admit it to myself. I was quite upset, angry. I tried to rip up my diagnosis paper. I was like, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that. And I managed to calm down. I'm like, this makes sense. Wow, my life actually fits a puzzle. My life actually seems to gone from being bad to also it's like, oh, okay, now I'm
There's finally a bit of sense in the disorder, yes?
yeah.
Hey, Bridget! And Family Show of Four. Wonderful to see you. And Bridget, my co-host for Beauty, You Stories, Beauty and Bees on Monday, which I've been talking about. And by the way, Bridget, Gemma gave us a huge compliment. She re-listened to our entire first show. We just debuted, for everyone who doesn't know, a week ago, Monday, and we'll be on every other Monday. It's down in the schedule. And she said that she loved it and she was fascinated. And actually, her and I are going to just start to do a thing with makeup and be putting out videos from women with women and men
Yeah.
with autism who might want to wear makeup and things to help them. So she gave us a huge compliment. So I figured I was going to tell you, but why not tell you now? So
Definitely.
everybody make sure that you check out my co-hosts for Beauty and the Bees as well as each other. Like I said, always check each other out, please. It's always a social place here, whether it is creators, viewers, whatnot, because I was a viewer for years and years and years. My channel says 2013. Yeah, no, I didn't start until 6 months ago. Oh, thank you, my makeup's on point. I filmed it, but I had to rush, and I don't like rushing. Um, but I will, Bridget damn near kicked me for erasing one the other weeks. Actually, she didn't say that, I did, but I have a feeling she might have wanted to. So yeah, I got some really interesting things coming that I'm going to start filming a lot more. That's more stuff I'm interested in than just reviewing things. But anyway, totally off the subject, but we do that here, and you can do that here too. We go off on mini tangents and then we come back.
Yeah.
And because I figure YouStories is more like a conversation, a big chat with everyone, because that happens in a chat all the time, or at least it does with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I know a lot of people it does, but well, it's very interesting. What were some of the things that you originally recognized when you looked at that book and you looked at the bullet points, because I know it's in the DSM-5 or DSM-4 and then DSM-5, of any mental issues they have. There's a certain amount of things that you had to have the same with to have certain mental illnesses. What were some of the things that you noticed in yourself that you saw when you read about autism?
Yeah, it's really strange. I know that I've always been quite blunt with my language. I'm quite a direct person, and one of the
Well,
triads,
I'm a direct person too, yeah. So that's that can
yeah,
fall a lot of people though. Go ahead.
yeah, that, and I know that I'm absolutely rubbish with eye contact. So a lot of people say to me, "Oh, Gemma, you're so rude because you don't give full eye contact, and it's really frustrating." I'm like, I don't mean to do that. I try and give eye contact, but the problem is I get so mentally exhausted with it. I can do it for a certain time period, and then I can look away and then come back once I've processed it. And people are like, "Oh, you don't care. You're being rude." No, I'm really not. I'm trying my best to mentally process the information, come back, reply to you in a suitable manner, rather than sitting here going, what do I say? Do I say something horrible? Do I say something direct that's going to be rude? I'm like, no, okay, sit here, think about it. I'm like, oh, okay. So it kind of takes me the extra time, and a lot of people go, oh, well, you just don't seem to care. I'm like, yes, I do care. In fact, probably way too much for my own good.
True. It's just you process information in a different way, which is, it's people sometimes get a little bit and this is why I think it's fantastic. And for those of you who don't know, and we're going to talk about it, Gemma's very open about it, and she also goes around and she's going to tell about it some. In fact, I'm really interested in. There's a recent video you've really got to check out her channel about her going to the police station. I want to ask all about that, and all kinds of things she does to bring awareness and educate. Is when you have a disability, whether um, people take it really funny sometimes. And I mean, I can see this as having a physical disability that's invisible. For the most part, you can't see rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia and a few of the other things that I've ended up developing. But as someone who didn't have it, was very healthy, actually, well, that's another story. Anyway, who didn't have it until about 10 years ago, I can tell the difference between when I'm having issues and you can actually see a little bit, or when you can't and people just assume like there's nothing wrong with me and give me funny looks if I have to park closer or whatnot. That people can be funny about that, but people can be even, more uncomfortable when it comes to issues that they can't see that are in the brain, which is a bit odd because something in the brain that's part of the body. So, it's the same thing. I don't see it as anything really that much different than anything what I have. It's just a different disease, or syndrome or whatnot, because God knows I have enough of them. Papa King, what's up? So wonderful to see you. And Papa King, I was just thinking about you today. In fact, today and yesterday, I have not forgotten you, and I will be emailing you soon. I'm just, like I said, firing up the YouTube engine again to get the machine going and starting to get my videos out and get the shows rolling out again after being sick. So I have not forgotten you at all, love. So that's the thing is, people don't always understand it's something that, you know, there's to a certain amount control of, and other things that maybe you can't. And I honestly find you much more aware of what you're doing than some people who don't have autism. You seem much more aware of, you know, all right, I've done this. And like you said before, maybe you said something and you didn't mean to, and it came across in the wrong way. You seem to analyze yourself much more clearly than people who don't have an issue, which I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I think for me it's the last year or so I went to do a training course with some professionals, because in where I live, my town where I live, we recently started up a mental health recovery college. And the recovery college is a place where patients with mental health and people who have been through the mental health system can train professionals. So I went along to an anxiety and autism day, and I was like, you know what, this is what I've learned about myself, this is what you can do to help people. And two people said to me, you're so well informed, like, about your own body language, you're informed about the way you speak. I'm like, yes, but at the same point, I'm very bad at it because I don't necessarily know the social cues, or might not
Right.
know where to speak or where to be quiet. So I'm like, that's where I struggle. I'm like, okay. And people are like, but you do it. I'm like, yeah, practice.
Well, you know, and that's something that I think a lot of people could practice more. I mean, doing a show like this, I talk to all different kinds of people, and you know, we've got people who can talk a lot. Which people, it's very funny. I had somebody ask me one day, "How do you have that kind of energy, and how can you keep talking and keep that energy up?" And I go, "Well, goodness, I don't do it all the time."
Yeah.
I'm not like this all the time. I mean, granted, this is me, you know, being sociable and whatnot, but I don't sit in my house or wherever I am all day talking. And so, okay, sometimes I do, but otherwise, I can be quiet for hours and hours on end. Ammo, I hope you're feeling a lot better. Thank you so much. David Michael Paul, oh, good interview so far. Thank you so much. I have used stories at least once weekly. So, it is a lot of fun. Anyway, no, you work with it really well, but I can see it's very, like I said, it's interesting that you seem to have a better handle on admitting, you know, maybe where you did have a stumble or whatnot, which I don't mind doing. I mean, God knows I've cut people off. I've, you know, done whatnot, this, that, and oh God, I'm so. I mean, I even during a live stream accidentally flashed Best Friend in Your Threads phone number to the entire world. So
Oh dear.
yeah, I think that's one of my biggest boo-boos to date. Oh, that was a horrible one. But, you know, I don't mind saying sorry. Whereas there's a lot of people that you see nowadays that seem to have an issue with the word sorry and, you know, oops, I made a mistake. And, you know, you seem to be very accustomed to like, okay, I have this. You seem to be accepting for a lot of it. And I know that it's not that you don't have rough times, because I know you do.
Yeah.
But how long did it take? You said it took practice to get to where you are right now, because you're
Yeah.
extremely mature. You're much more mature than people that are twice your age, Jam. I mean, I meet people all the time where I'm like, what in the hell is wrong with you? It's a simple sorry or a simple, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah, roasted shoes. It was an accident. Some people here do that on purpose, sadly. What, flash phone numbers? Or what? Roasted Studios. Yes, Jem is extremely strong. And Mama Style says people are too prideful when it comes to the word sorry. I have to agree with that. That's one of my
Yeah.
issues with things. You too, Jem. Because I don't think it's that difficult a word to say. We all
No,
mess up.
it's not.
and I just think, it makes you, I have rough days, where I'm in a lot of pain or whatnot, and I just tend to be a happy person. I was born that way, whatnot. But Up in the House Records TV, wonderful. Oh, I missed you too, darling. Don't worry, I'm back now every Monday and Wednesday and possibly another day, and my videos are going to be rolling out soon. I am back, like I said, firing up the YouTube machine again. And Arts Morbid is back too, next Wednesday. Or wait, no, this Wednesday. Oh my gosh, it's already happening so fast. That was something I wanted to mention too. He will be back to having his Central Standard Time shout out and little information thing noon on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So Frank's back too. I'm just so happy to see everybody back. But the interesting thing, so how much practice would you say and learning did it take you to do this, or was this more a part of your personality, would you say?
I think quite a lot of it's my personality, but at the same time, I kind of role play interviews. So when I know I'm having an interview like this, I will ring up my dad or my sister. I'm like, okay, pretend that you're interviewing me. Ask me questions that you would ask someone else. And my dad and sister sat me down the other day, and they're like, so, okay, Jim, imagine the question's going to be things like, so, like, how do you feel about having autism? And make sure that you pause, say the right thing. Then, if she asks you a question, say about eye contact or body language. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can process that. And then they're like, make sure that you keep calm and make sure you're not fidgeting. And I'm like, okay, calm. And I sit here, I'm like, hand to my lap, keep still, don't fidget. And I know to practice, and it probably takes me about, for an interview, probably takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to role play the questions and get used to it. And then once I know it's coming up, I'm like, okay, I know who it is, I know the person, I know the channel, and then I can go through the videos. I'm like, okay, I'm good, I'm ready. So it takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to role play, and then usually most of it's my personality. So I'm like, okay, I'm not nervous, I'm good. And sometimes it'll be like, slightly nervous, then I'm alright, then I'm nervous, I'm like, nope, calm, and then I'm okay again.
That's awesome how you work through it. Undead Otter, he says, love you, Gemma. Just wanted to come and give you support and support Lady. Thank you, Undead Otter. Wonderful to have you here. Like I'm telling you, anybody new, I am just getting back after being sick. And please make friends with anybody that you don't know. All of my live stream shows, I've got several different series live now. And I encourage everyone, please make friends with viewers, creators, whoever it is. There's no hashtag to it. Just it's YouTube and have fun. And we just encourage a sense of community amongst everyone on my channel. So pop-up, yeah, that was a very good point. Mama Style, some people don't always say sorry when they messed up, but they like to show in certain ways that they are sorry. Yes, that's true. And Pop-Up King brought up an interesting thing before, and I don't know why this always flips to top chat, even if I have the settings, but we all know YouTube is fun. It likes to do things.
Did that today.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've gone and I've muted things to go on live, and then I go on live and it starts going loud, and you've got the 7 to 8 second delay, and it's echoing. It's like, for God's sakes, it looks like I haven't prepared a bit, and I have. It's YouTube.
Yeah.
I think they have like, there's somebody back there having fun, poking buttons and stuff. But Papa King, he said, it's not hard to say I'm sorry unless you screw up and you always say it. People will not start believing you're really sorry anymore. Yeah, that's true. I've met people like that, especially if it's consistently for the same exact thing. And I'm not talking about in Gemma's case where, you know, she might say something or whatnot. You know, you have a distinct reason why. But I know the type of person you're talking about where either they do the same thing or it's constantly they're doing something and saying sorry, and there's really no reason for it. It's just being entitled and being completely unaware of, you know, people around. And that's just something that, you know, I don't understand that, you know, pay attention. It's not that hard to look around a little bit. But so interesting thing, you know, you made it through a good portion of your life without realizing that you had autism and you had anxiety, and that's a lot to go through in childhood, you know, and not realize what the hell is happening. How
Yeah.
did you handle it as a child?
That's a good question. I think when I lived with my mum, it kind of, my behaviour started becoming erratic, especially with school, more high school than anything. I was struggling to keep up with the coursework. I was getting bad reports in my school reports, which is another video I'm planning to do tomorrow about that. It's basically school, the teacher's like, oh, Gemma's fallen a little bit behind, but we're not too worried, but she's slipping behind with her grades. My mum's like, okay, that's fine. We'll get Gemma up to the grade she needs to get to. And then I start really suffering, getting anxious with the exams. And Mum's like, Gemma, you don't want to go to school, do you? And I was like, Mum, I don't want to go to school. I don't feel well. I'd make up so many excuses. I say to her, I feel ill. I think I've got a tummy bug. I've got a headache. And my mum's like, no, you haven't. You're going to school. I'm like, Mum, I don't feel well. I'm not getting up. And I would actually lie about things like, well, if you make me go to school, I'm going to fail my exam and I'm being picked on in my classroom. And Mum's like, don't try that. I'm like, Mum, make me go to school. I'll come home. I'll lie about feeling ill. I'll come home. I was like, don't do it. I'm like, so every afternoon when my mum was at work, I knew that I could go round to my nana's house. I was very,
Right.
very naughty. I would skive off school in the afternoon. I'd be like, okay, Nan, knock on my nan's door, hide in her front room. And one time I nearly got caught. My mum was due to go round there, and I was in my nan's bedroom. And she went,
Excuse me.
Gemma, I'm a bit nervous. Your mum's outside. I went, get rid of her. And then my
Oh
mum has a door
no.
key, and she let herself in. I was like, oh, now I'm busted. So I had to face my mum. She's like, Gemma, it's 1:30. You finished school at 4 o'clock. Why are you out of school? I'm like, yeah, I've got some explaining to do. So she took me home. We had a 3 hour discussion. And she's like, oh, why don't you tell me all this? I went, Mum, I've told you, I'm anxious, I'm being bullied, I can't cope with the work. My mum then got me a tutor who taught me at home with a lot of my maths, my English, and
Yeah.
I ended up passing my exams, got 3 C's, 4 D's, and 2 E's, I think it was, um, through my mum's tutor, and my dad paid for tuition with me. And if it wasn't for my mum and dad continuing to push me, going, come on, Gemma, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm mucking up, I'm failing, I hate it, I hate school, I hate being there, it's horrible. And then I met my amazing social worker at my school, who was a big inspiration to me. And she said, come on, Gemma, come into my room. If you don't want to be in the classroom, come to me and work. I'm like, okay, it sounds good.
That's
So
awesome. So you had somewhere to escape, you know, if you're that, I mean, because I can understand if you're that uncomfortable, how are you going to do well in school? You know, that's a really, you know, it's difficult. It's very distracting if you're feeling that way to then focus on what you're supposed to be learning.
yeah, so I spent 2 or 3 afternoons a week with her doing my coursework. She's breaking it down step by step for me. So I was like, oh, okay, I've got to do this bit first, then that bit. And I'll go home, finish the rest of it, and then hand it to my teacher and all that. You've actually completed it. You've actually done it. I'm like, yeah. So I'd hand it in. They're like, okay, Gemma, we'll see how you cope with the next lot. So I was like, okay. And then I started getting bullied at this point by my cousin. And my cousin, at first, me and her got on really well. She would take me to school, she'd walk me home because she knew my mum worked till 6 p.m. in the evening. So I'd go around to hers for dinner. And then, about a year into my first year at high school, she started picking on me to the point where she said some really quite evil stuff against me. And her and her friends one day, wasn't expecting it, decided to chase me home with tree branches and started attacking me, to the point where I had to have the police take photos of me because she'd scarred me all up my back,
Oh,
all down my arms. I had scars, and it looked like someone had given me a battering.
whoa,
And
whoa, whoa. hold on one second. I had to say, Bridget said, she said, I'm so sorry to hear that you were bullied, Gemma. She said she was homeschooled, so she never experienced the bullying. And yeah, I actually know quite a few people who are homeschooled, and I know a lot of people who are homeschooling their children now because of it and because of other things. But wait a second. So wait, this girl was, I'm sorry, I'm floored that somebody would want to do that. I mean, it's not that I don't know about it, and it's not that I haven't talked to other people who've been bullied and these things have happened. And I've had other guests that horrific things have happened to them. And I always thank everybody for sharing everything that their stories that they do. And by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, the you and you stories, it's not about YouTube. It's literally you stories, because the way I started out my live streams was telling stories about myself, and was my video starting telling the story about my disability, my RA and fibromyalgia and so on and so forth. And I thought, wow, I want to hear other people's stories. So that's where the you stories came from. But I've heard a lot. But wait, somebody was hitting you that badly. Why? I mean, obviously not why. That's just, it's just flooring me that somebody would beat you so terribly. And did they ever give a reason, like, why they would do something like that?
No, my mum actually tried to go talk to her, and my mum actually went after her twice because she was family, and she said, Gemma, we can't let this go on because it will cause trouble in the family. So I was like, okay. So
Yeah,
she went to go,
who was doing this again?
my cousin.
Oh my good, yeah, because Roasted Studios, he says Gemma was bullied and abused. He says, yeah, I mean that from your cousin is definitely abuse, and that's something definitely that has to be done about that. But yeah, I can see. I'm not saying that's okay by any means, but I can see where that would definitely make it even, more difficult as if, it is a family member. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. It really floored me. I didn't realize you were hurt that, it's not just hurt, but I mean, hurt really that badly is just, wow. Is holy. I don't understand. I guess I'm one of those people. I just don't understand why you would want to do this to anybody, let alone your cousin.
Yeah, she was 2 years older than me as well, which was a bit of a, I don't understand why she did it. And
Yeah,
uh,
Roasted Studios said they're very sorry that that happened. Go
it's
ahead.
okay. Yeah, it was okay. Like, I understood that obviously I must do. At first, I thought I was to blame because I thought, oh, maybe I've said something to offend her or her friends. Maybe it was just a bit of a one to say, continue this and this is what's gonna happen. And it got worse. One day I got to school with her. She'd walked me to school a couple of days after this incident had happened. And she said, oh, I'll meet you at the end of the school day, 3:30 at the gate, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. And got to the end of the school day. My friend who knows my cousin had received a note from my cousin. So I was like, oh, okay. So I read this note, and it's from her best friend, and her best friend basically wrote on this note that my cousin had basically said she wanted nothing more to do with me, that she'd rather commit suicide than have me as her cousin. And I was 13 at the
Whoa.
time.
Obviously, your cousin had some issues of her own, because
Yeah.
that's not in any stretch of the imagination, normal healthy behavior. So I mean, obviously, I don't know her or anything else, but it just leads me to believe she had her own issues to be able to do anything on that level or say anything on, of that sort to you. So I'm terribly sorry that that's happened.
It's okay.
How did you, so obviously they got it stopped, thank God, because, God forbid, nobody deserves to be treated that way for any reason. And if anybody listening is, please tell someone or find someone, that can help you, because don't believe for a second that there's any reason anybody deserves that. You can't possibly do anything to deserve something like that. Um, so after that, did you how did you go about with graduating high school?
Yeah, for some unknown reason, I decided to stick with my school. I started putting my head down more. I went to extra revision classes to try and catch
Wonderful.
up with the work because I was slipping behind quite badly. And I started picking up my grades. I started really enjoying school. I was like, okay, this is good. I'm getting back into school routine. And my teacher started saying, "Oh, well done, Gemma. You're making changes. You're coming early to the revision classes. You're staying late after school." And one day, I stayed quite late after school, and my mum was like, "Where have you been? It's like nearly 5 p.m. You finished school at 3:30. Where have you been?" I was like, "In the library." She's like, "Okay." 2 hours later, you've not told me where you were. I was like, and then I got home and she's like, "This isn't my regular thing, is it, Gemma?" I was like, "No." I went home the next day after school. My mum was like, "Are you right, Gemma?" I was like, "Yep, just let me go in my bedroom, get my books out, turn my music on. I sit there and study for hours." Mum's like, "Gemma, it's tea time. Come into my room." She's like, "Really?" And then my mum started saying to me things from there. She's like, "Gemma, your behaviour's not right. Like, you're very isolated, you're very unsociable." And I was like, "No, no, no, it's just school." And then my mum's like, "No, Gemma, it's all the time. You don't just do it at school, you're doing it before school." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then it kind of clicked. And now I look back at it from the diagnosis point of view. I'm like, that was social anxiety. I hated being social. I hated being questioned by people. I was like, "No, no, 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 don't want it. Don't want to answer this question. Don't want to talk to anyone." Whereas now I'm complete opposite. I'm like, "Oh, social time and interviews and meeting friends." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. I'll do it."
Yeah, I think
Whereas
because you and I were talking I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying before, if I would have 5, 6 years ago, if I would have even been on YouTube or out of YouTube and people say to me, "Oh, let's go and do something," I'm like, "No, let's not. I want to stay at home." That, "But you got to make friends." "No, why do I want to make friends? They're going to stab me in the back." "No, Gemma." And now I'm like, that was stupid because I've judged someone for wanting to be friends with me on the basis because I've been bullied. So it took a lot of initiative to go, actually, I'll trust this person.
Right. Well, I mean, it makes sense. And people are cautious. And I think at varying levels, everybody's has to learn. And I have to remember sometimes, don't always be, because I can be exceedingly friendly and sometimes, can get my fingers bitten a little bit because I forget that not everybody is as worthy of trust as perhaps I give them sometimes. I have to remember that. But I think that's something we all have to do. And I think you and I were talking about it the other day. It was something very interesting that Rosa Studios, trust has to be earned. Very true. And Rosa Studios also said, she said, Gemma shows you can overcome adversity and come out on top. She's a fabulous woman. Absolutely, she is. Something interesting we were talking about the other day, speaking of being social, was I was talking about how I didn't realize, and it's of course not everybody, but I didn't realize that there were a lot of people on YouTube that were introverted and that they'd come onto YouTube to help bring themselves out of it. And it was one thing that I learned about YouTube that I'd never realized as a viewer, that and of course that's not speaking for everybody and whatnot, but there was a lot more people. I didn't realize that there was a very high percentage of people that came onto YouTube and to help them with social anxiety and introversion and whatnot. And what was it? Mama Styles and I were talking, and I said, "Well, I've always been very social and outgoing and friendly, very comfortable in my own skin." I said, "But I need a certain amount of time to myself, or it gets to be a bit much." I said, "So I like both." I said, "So I guess I'm an extroverted introvert and introverted extrovert." And Mama Stella says, "No, you're an ambivert," which I looked it up, and sure enough, she was absolutely correct. It's a balance exactly between the two. And I went, "Oh, okay, cool. Something that's healthy with me." And
Yeah.
I joke, guys, because obviously I have, the physical diseases. So I'm just making jokes. But Gemma was saying, she's like, yeah, I used to be an introvert. She's like, but I'm an extroverted autistic. And I said, you know, I think that described you perfectly, because she really is. And I don't think people realize that that's quite possible with people who have autism. I think they automatically assume that you're antisocial.
Yeah. When I first got diagnosed, people were like, "Oh, you're gonna be one of them shy people who's gonna hide yourself. It's gonna be like, oh, don't approach me, leave me alone." I'm like, no,
Right, right.
actually, I'm pretty much open. Like I said to you on the Hangout message, I'm pretty much open. I'll tell people quite a lot about myself, and I've always been kind of extrovert. I'm always been kind of the social person. My family, like, oh, if there's a social game, I'm like, okay, let's go and let's plan. And I've always been quite a busy person, but on kind of social media, I've always been like, oh, should I put that? Should I say this? And I'm like, double check with someone, and I always check with my family, or I check in with you, or one of my friends on YouTube. I'm like, should I say this? Should I put this? I'm like, if it doesn't sound right, no, don't put it. If it sounds alright, then maybe. But I always check in with someone. So it's when I said to you, I'm like, just checking in. How are you? Blah blah. I'm like, I have to make sure that I'm being social and
Well,
respectable
that's
when
smart that you know to do that. That's a wise thing to do. And Papa King says, Gemma, don't let anyone bully you because of your autism. I know some people can't help it, no matter how severe the situation. You're a strong woman for wanting to come out and speak on this. And Mama Styles, people make fun of disabilities or monsters. Yeah, they truly are. I've dealt with it some, and there's a bunch of things that happened in July with some nasty things. That some people at the recreation department did towards me, which I will end up telling you guys about soon. Once they found out that I had a physical disability, and it's absolutely atrocious that you know, what in the hell's wrong with you? Suddenly you find that out, and then there's something different about me. But before, I mean, it's really interesting how people's minds work that they do that. But yeah, it is truly atrocious, Mama Styles. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Um, but I think you're very smart for doing that, Jim. I honestly, I ask certain things about G with my family. You know, what do you think? What do you think about putting this on YouTube, or what do you think about that? Yeah, I discuss things with my family as well. So I just think that's a smart thing to do. You know,
yeah,
and that you're aware. You know, and maybe if you're not sure, it's always good, you know, to go to somebody and talk to them, or to a friend or whatnot.
yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's more of a security thing. I'm like, okay, I'd better just check because having a communication difference, disorder, whatever people like to call it, it's I always panic that I say the wrong thing, or I'll go to put something up like a video and I'm like, I'm not sure if I said that right or if I should delete it, refilm it. So I always send a rough draft to my dad or my mum, like, okay, watch this. Is it good? Is it not? Let me know. And they're like, okay, Gemma, maybe this isn't right, or maybe you should change the picture. I'm like, oh, okay. So I always make sure I edit them and send them out to people. I'm like, and even like to you, sometimes I'll send you an email. I'm like, is this
Yeah.
okay? Should I do it? And then you're like, Gem. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And I always make sure that I check with someone first. I'm like, Lady Borgia will know. If I send her an email, I'm like, hey, can you help? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm happy to help you. And you know, I'm a very honest person and pretty direct. So, I say things straight. I
Yes,
mean, I
definitely.
don't ever want to be hurtful to anyone, but yeah, I'm pretty direct. And I just think life is so much easier when one is direct.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like beating around things very much. I mean, obviously, I've got manners and I try to be polite to people, but especially when it's a friend who wants to, ask something, I'm perfectly happy to help. Um, I have to say that I have a tendency to be overly picky with my videos, that especially with my art, that I'll look at it, oh, the lighting's not good enough, or this, I'll like the artistry itself, but I'll go, oh, but this could be better. And I have people tell me, you just knock it off and stop deleting the videos. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, okay, I do have to stop doing that. That's being a bit too picky in the other way, but I suppose I just want them to be good. And I that's the same thing that you're doing, so interesting thing I want to ask you. So I saw the video, and if anybody hasn't seen this, Gemma went recently to the local police. It was the police department, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And she did an information session educating the police department about autism. And you have to understand, for anybody who doesn't realize, Gemma lives over in the UK. I won't tell you exactly where because it's just, you don't need
yeah.
to know unless she tells you. But yeah, Roasted Studio says, when it comes to abuse, I'm very direct. Uh, myself as well. Yes, very. And Roasted Studios, that's one thing on this channel. Since you're newer, the one thing I always allow on this channel is discussion. In fact, sometimes we do actually have special discussions that can be a bit controversial. The first one somebody asked me to have, it's the You Stories special editions. Sometimes they're parties, sometimes they're discussions. Somebody wanted to have a discussion about the deeper discussion into Christianity. And I said, okay, I'll host it and I'll be the neutral party. And as long as everybody is decent and respectful, I'm all for discussion and being direct and whatnot and talking. I mean, that's a different kind of direct, obviously. But on this channel, everybody should feel free to speak their mind as long as it's respectful. I don't allow gossip or anything like that. But when people think things or they don't like something that's going on or something like that, I rather be direct and have things come right out. We've had some very interesting conversations on this channel about things. And yeah, Bridget, exactly. I cannot stand beating around the bush. Yeah, you're a Leo, and I'm a Scorpio. Well, I'm on the cusp of Libra and Scorpio. So I'm mostly Scorpio, which I think what they say is one of the I think it's one of the most powerful signs and the whatnot. But I've got the Libra in me, so I've got the fairness thing, and I'm big about being fair. I love discussion as long as they're direct and logical. And we've had quite a few on this channel, so that's one thing that I always welcome anybody. And speak your mind about things as long as it's respectful. It's welcome here. So she went to the police department to educate them, which really brought up something interesting in my head. I said, well, obviously the police are going to come back into contact with people with autism and perhaps, might arrest some of them for not knowing, how to deal with the situation. Like I said, a very close friend of mine has an autistic son, and I do remember being, I remember when she was pregnant with him when he was born, and they started finding things very early on. I think he was about a year and a half. They thought he was partially deaf because he started acting differently. And, he's pretty highly functioning, and they've done wonderful, wonderful things and all kinds of help throughout the years to help them out and everything else like that. But I have seen where he has had issues. We were out to lunch and he had a complete meltdown because of sensory overload when, I think he was maybe about 6 or 7. But, all these different things where somebody just thought he was being a bratty, spoiled child. He wasn't. He'd hit the wall and it was too much for him. And I understood when she had to leave lunch, halfway through. And we were doing something special that day, but it was just what had to be done. But the police may not understand in a lot of situations what the hell is going on. So I think it was fascinating that Gemma went and did this. Ammo, a Scorpio over there. I thought you said you were a Libra before. Anyway, Papa King is a Pisces. So, yes, Mama Styles is a Taurus, which is the exact other thing of Scorpios. Yes, I dated a Taurus before. Actually, I dated a Leo before, too. Very good for friends, Leos and Taurus. Not so good for me to date them. But anyway, back to the topic. So it's very interesting that you went to educate them, Jem. How did you come to the point where you knew you wanted to go educate the police, and what did you tell them to educate them?
Yeah, it was a really weird situation actually. I was attending a local council health and wellbeing board that I sit on, and I was the only one in that meeting with autism. I was like, okay, this is weird. There's everyone else on the spectrum with mental health issues and physical disabilities, but I was the only woman in there with autism. I was like, oh, okay. And
That's
then,
quite interesting. I have to tell about that in a minute too, but go ahead, please.
yeah, I was in the room. I've been in the room for about 20 minutes at this point, and they said, "Oh, we've got a special guest coming to speak today." I'm like, "Okay, special guest, mystery, who's that?" And the person was late, and then all of a sudden I saw the police lanyard around her neck. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun. And she walked up and had a police helmet and everything else on. I was like, okay, I'm going to challenge this woman. So about 10 minutes into her talk, she's like, does anyone have any questions? I was like, me. And she said, okay, what do you want to ask me? So I went up to her and I was like, so can you tell me how you treat autistic people? I said, because I've read a lot
Excuse
of
me.
reports on how you mishandle autistic people by restraint. And
Right,
she,
right, because that's exactly what I was thinking about when I saw you do that, and I was like, well, wow. And thinking back to, knowing somebody closely with autism from a young age, and other things, and going, geez, there's got to be a lot of things that happen that they're just not understanding.
no. And it's really strange. We had a 15-minute debate, 15-minute debate with her, and I said to her, I said, do you realise that if you restrain somebody with autism, they're going to be extremely heightened in the first place. They're going to
Right.
be nervous. I said, then
It's going to
you're,
make it worse.
yeah, you're going to lay hands on them, and the fact that you're then touching their body parts to then try and restrain them. I said, when you're restraining them, all they're going to do is flip out. They're going to hurt you by attacking you. I said, then they're going to be done for not just being disturbing the peace, they're now going to be done for assault, which is going
Yeah,
to be
and
another
especially
charge
a police,
altogether.
yeah, assault of a police officer, nonetheless.
And then by the time you get them to custody after that, away from their home, I said, in between that time, can't you just, instead of taking them to the station, can't you interview them at home with a responsible parent or a carer and get them to communicate on their behalf? Because a lot of autistic people, once they've got to that point, they won't communicate. They'll shut off their communication. They'll not want anything else to do with you.
Right.
And I've been through that with them because the reason I got in touch with the police was because I had an incident happen. I was getting bullied online, and it turned out by one of my ex best friends, and she sent me a death
Oh,
threat.
good look. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's just rotten. I don't understand people. Go ahead, honey.
And I phoned up the police and I said, look, I'm being threatened. I've had a death threat on my phone. I've got the proof here of the messages. They're graphic, really, really graphic. I said, I'm scared. I'm on my own. My parents are out the country. I need someone to come and see me.
Right.
And their response was, well, how serious do you think these threats are? I was like, out of 10, a 10, I'm scared. I'm on my own. I'm newly diagnosed. I've got autism. And the lady on the phone was like, oh, what's autism? I went, what? And she, yeah, what is autism? I was like, the fact that I'm anxious, I'm scared, I don't know what to say to you, I'm frightened that someone's going to try and kill me. And she said, oh no, 90% of the time, Miss Grace, there'll be nothing to happen to you. You need to calm down. I went, uh, no. Telling me to calm down is going to get me angry. The more you get me angry, I'm going to kick off. And she's like, the more you kick off, Miss Grace, I'll hang up on you. I went, no. I need someone to here to come visit me. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I'm getting to the point now where I'm losing it. And it took 6 hours for them to send me two massive 6'3" blokes to come and see me. I'm like, that's not appropriate. I'm a 5'1" female down here. I've got two blokes up here with all body armor and things on, knocking my door. I'm like, uh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
And I refused to speak to them. They then told the policeman on the phone that I was being disrespectful, that I was being non-cooperative, that I was acting shifty. They tried to restrain me. I then went to swing for them, got myself in a hell of a load of trouble. Um, then my friend, who is a mother of 4 autistic children came round to see me.
Oh, wow.
And she then rang the police again and said, look, Gemma's anxious. She's going through sensory overload. She's not very well. She needs help.
Right.
And it took 3 hours for another set of 2 officers to come out to see me. And they were really good with me this time round. I had 2 females. And they said to me, oh, would you come down to the station to train us? I went, yeah. So it took about 2 months. Then their mental health coordinator rang me and said, do you want to press a complaint? I went, yes, I do. I said, I want to complain. I'm not happy.
Right.
And then she's like, what do you want to say? I was like, don't know. What do I say? And it took me about a week to do that. And then she said, oh, we've got some police training next week. Do you want to come down and do half an hour talk? I was like, yeah, can I bring someone? I was really nervous. I was like, don't know what to do. And so I brought my best friend who is a social worker with me.
Yeah, well, because
And
public speaking can be
yeah,
quite a bit for a lot of people. You know, that's even some of the most friendly people and whatnot. It can be a bit, you know, quite something to be in, especially a room full of police officers. That can be a bit intimidating.
yeah, definitely. And I spoke for about 12 minutes. And then my social worker did a lot of the talking afterwards. And the police were like, how can she be here if she's autistic? That's the first ever question that I remember getting upset with. I'm like,
Yeah, so it's amazing the misconceptions about it. Go ahead. I'd love to hear your answer. That's interesting.
yeah,
How can she be here if she's autistic? I would have loved to ask them, why do you think she can't?
yeah, exactly. This is what I said to him. I said, well, yes, I'm autistic, but the thing is, I'm female. And the thing is, autism is more known to boys or men because the behavior is more boy focused because they show more physical symptoms of it. Whereas girls, females like myself, we tend to mask a lot of the time.
Yeah, Bridget says,
And
she says, wow, it blows her mind how rude people can be. It does with me too. I mean, what do you mean she cannot be here? Because go ahead, Jem. It doesn't mean
yeah,
that you're incapable of things. And a lot of people have the misconception of thinking that people with autism aren't very bright, and that isn't the case at all. But you know, that's why it's so interesting and so important to get awareness out there. That's also why I try to get awareness about everything. That's why I do the disability discussions and discussions on everything, because God knows we can all be helped by learning things.
yeah,
I say
yeah.
I learned something every live stream. I learned something, but please go ahead. What did you? Because that's something I would have said. Like, why do you think she can't be here?
Yeah, so I sat there and I was like, so you're making a judgment on me because I'm not male, and you're trying to say to me that autism doesn't affect females. I said, but that's where you're wrong. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, but because you're so used to males being the committers of crime or people who experience crime, I said that's not the case. A lot of the females will not report it or not tell you
Mm-hmm.
because you don't believe they're autistic. I said, the thing is, you've judged me on that. You said, oh, Gemma, but you don't appear to be autistic. I'm like, you have no idea. You
Right.
have you have no idea of the anxiety for one. The anxiety gets to a point where I'm like, I can act as normal pretty much, and then if something triggers me, I'm like, oh, not sure. I said, for you to sit here and trigger me like that with one silly comment, I'm like, now you're going to see the other side of me. You're going to see the side where I'm misbehaving, I'm anxious, I'm angry. And they're like, oh, but that's just mood swings. No, that's called sensory burnout. And that is what is called bad behavior because I physically melt down in my head and my body hurts to the point that I can't do anything for myself. That means cooking, that means cleaning, that means being a everyday adult. Just doesn't happen. My brain says, no, don't want it, not ready.
But we've got Mama Style. She's gonna go. She can change her charge her phone, and she needs to change her hearing aid battery. Thank you so much for coming, Mama Styles. We'd
Bye,
love to have
mama.
you. And Mama Styles is also a great friend of mine. So I will be talking to you soon, lady. Public King, he says, that's not true. Autism can be found in either a male or a female. Absolutely. And Mama Stale says, I'll talk to everyone later. Absolutely love. We absolutely adore Mama Styles on this channel. So anyway, go ahead. Tell us more about this, the visit.
Yeah, basically, I visited the police station, and they basically, after a few months, started coming around to me the idea of it becoming a monthly training session. So I did
Oh,
my
wow.
first,
I didn't realize
and
it'd become monthly. Awesome. Go ahead.
yeah, which is good. I've done two this month. I've done three last month, and I'm doing one in September and one in October as well. So
Oh, wow. That is
yeah,
so cool. I got to give another round of applause for that. That is like you're already on the council. You now the thing with the police department. That's absolutely fantastic. You know, because I was really thinking about it ever since I saw your video. And I thought, you know, that's just something that's absolutely needed. And it's needed in a lot of areas, but especially something like that. Bridget says, that's so awesome. Clifford Starks, how are you? I'm sorry, love, I didn't see you come in right away.
hey Clifford.
I'm glad to have you. Feel free, make friends with everybody, viewers, creators, whatnot. There is no hashtag here. It's just every single of my live shows. I started well back before anybody was really live streaming. So I just kind of jumped in and taught myself how to do it as a brand new YouTuber. And I've always made them a place for community and fun. And there is no hashtag here. It has no name. So just enjoy, join in the conversation. This is you stories, whatnot. And it's literally your stories. You know, it just happens to go along with YouTube. I'm wonderful that you're well. Fantastic. I am just getting back after being sick for a bit, but like I said, I fired up the YouTube machine again. We've got it rolling. So I'm live every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with I've got several different shows. And tonight, Gemma is my guest on You Stories. So this is fascinating that you've got that many engagements with the police station to educate them about autism. When you go in, I mean, obviously you don't have to give your, half an hour thing. What are some points that you tell them that are important for them to know?
Yeah, sure. So I go in, I usually have a script that I write. So I will write sort of the 5, 6 main points I want them to know. So things like check the environment, because the environment's a really important tool. So if possible, take them to a quiet area or an area that's not as noisy as it would be outside. So whether
That's really good.
it
Go
could
ahead.
be a canteen room, or it could be an office room, or somewhere where there's not as many people to deal with. So that's one. Also, find out what they like, their interests. So build up the conversation about hobbies. So a lot of us on the spectrum have hobbies. So for me, if they want, when they try to get to know me, I said, talk to me about TV programs that I like, or talk to me about animals, things that are going to engage me to go, oh, okay, you want to know me, you care about me, you care about my well-being. And I
Right,
think
which are
quite,
questions we're going to ask you in a little bit, but go ahead.
yeah, my apologies.
No, that's
Yeah,
okay. It's just really funny that you said that, but I was saving it related. But no, this is really interesting because it's creating an association with the person instead of ramping them up, calming them down a bit and learning to relate, in a way that's going to be beneficial for both people. Please go ahead.
yeah,
I'd love to hear more.
yeah, sure. And then I usually teach them about behavior, because this is the main thing of autism. People assume that the behavior of both males and females are the same. No, far from it at all. Um, Boys are much more obvious. They do a lot more of the play fighting, the more physical kind of knocking people about. Whereas females, our behavior is very, very common, and we try to mask it. So for me, if I get really, really upset or have a bad day, I will go away and disappear from everybody. I will hide it. Whereas some females will talk about their special interests at depth. They will talk about things like one of my friends recently did a video about how she likes to watch horror films when she's upset. I'm like, no, oh, that'd be the worst thing for me. Horror films, no, 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 thank you. It just reminds me of being.
I can't say that that would be if I was upset that a horror film. As much as I like to make, sometimes I can make characters that are a little bit gruesome and whatnot. But no, horror films are not what I
No.
would pick either, Gem. That's not, no. Maybe painting a character that would calm me down, but no, not watching a horror film.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
wouldn't do
people
it.
will sort of jump in between the spectrum. Some person will be like, "Oh, I'll go and do this," and I'm like, "No, that's not right." Whereas with me, I will hide away. I will get my notebooks out. I'll often write some random words down. I'm like, "Okay, what does this mean? Why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel so peeved, upset?" I'm like, write these words down. I usually brainstorm them. I have all funky arrows and bubbles and everything in my notepad, which
Right.
is right here next to me. All my
I
things get
didn't know
written
that
in
there was
here.
more of a physicality with boys than girls. That is something I didn't know. That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Um.
Papa King says I wouldn't pick horror films, maybe on Halloween, but other times no way. Yeah, I have to say Papa King is somebody who loves special effects and painting and creating characters and whatnot, which not all of mine are gruesome, obviously, by far. They're not, there's a whole range of them. Some of them can be creepy, but even so, I only like, and I used to even write horror stories growing up because I was a writer, and but no, I don't really do horror films other than Halloween, which is probably very strange with my special effects thing. That's probably something that people would not assume. Up in the House Records, he's back, and I love special effects. Well, that is fantastic because I will have a lot more makeup videos coming out, and the longer special effect ones. I am getting there. I still will be doing the character shorts though. But the longer ones with them speeded up, they are coming. It's just certain things take a while to paint and take even longer to edit. And there's only one of me. So I'm sorry, Jem, go ahead.
No, you're
Because this is
fine.
really interesting about what you tell the police to do and how males and females are different. And hello, Michelle, lurking in the background. Fantastic. Because this is very interesting. I didn't realize that myself. Please go ahead. Because this is something I've been really curious about ever since I saw you do that video, is what you tell them.
Yeah. Also, what they don't remember as such is that they often assume that the behaviour is the same. So when I went there recently, I was having a really, really bad day. I'd done a talk previously at a council meeting, so I'd gone from there in a taxi to the police station. I was hot, I was anxious. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be late, and I'm huffing and puffing. And I got there, and the police was like, why are you so anxious? Like, why are you like stressing? I'm like, I'm stressing because I'm hot, I'm anxious, it's boiling outside, I'm late because of the traffic. And he was like,
Yeah,
don't
that would
worry.
get me too. And I don't have autism. That would just be, I don't feel good. It's hot. I'm getting cranky. It's trafficy. Get me out. I mean, I think anybody might feel a bit that way in those conditions. It's pretty normal.
Yeah, and then he accused me of being threatening. He said, oh, you come across threatening. I went, what? I said, I haven't threatened nobody. What are you on about? And he said, oh, well, you come across threatening, your body language, Gemma. It's like you're trying to threaten me. I went, no, I don't threaten anybody.
Interesting.
And he said, and then it kind of clicked with me. I was like, uh-oh, I know what I've done. I had to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe that my body language doesn't come through as accurately as it should do with me. And
Right.
I had to sit and be like, Gemma, maybe the way that you sort of went like this and you had your arms like this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's probably not saying the best about me. Going, oh yeah, I'm late, I'm anxious, I'm frustrated, and how my arsehole going, no, don't want to talk to you. I'm going, no. And he's like, Gemma, calm down. I'm like, okay. And I sat there, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm being rude, I'm being disrespectful, I'm here to help you. And it took me about half an hour to calm down. He was like, are you done? I'm like, yep, I'm done, I'm good, I'm calm. So I went into the room with them and I was like, this is what I'm like in a sensory overload, this is what I'm like when I'm not coping. This is not the usual side of me. You usually see the side where I'm all giggly, I'm happy, I'm smiling, and people are like, yeah, Gemma, you're completely different to that. I'm like, yep, then welcome to sensory overload, because this is what I'll be like when I don't cope and when I'm anxious. And like, how do you do that? I'm like, not very often, but the thing is, I can go from being happy and calm to anxious within a month or so. It would take something to build me up and build me up and build me up. All of a sudden, I'll just go, oh, not happy. And that's what happened at the weekend just gone. I'd been taking on so much work, and my friend had took me out for dinner to treat me, and it kind of got too much for me. And I'm like, why do I feel so anxious? Why am I feeling upset? I don't want to go out. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm like, oh, it's happening all over again. And yeah, it just got to a point where everything got too much for me, and I kind of had to get myself to a point where I'm calm and relaxing. I'm like, this is the police happening all over again. It's the non-communication, it's the shutdown,
Right,
it's the
right.
crying. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? I'm like, yeah, I know why, because I'm stressed out. I'm sensory overloaded. I'm upset. My
You're
body feels
high.
tired.
You're tired. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's understandable. Hey, Papa King is back. Awesome, wonderful to see. And Alan, fantastic. And Up in the House Records, I'm glad that you have stopped smoking and you're vaping. But I have to go for health. Perhaps vaping might be gone next. I have to root for that. I did smoke a long time ago. I haven't for quite a few years now. So I always root for people to quit the whole thing, but that is better than nothing. But there's nicotine still, but I'm not going to get on you for that. That's so thumbs up for that. Let's see. Yeah, Clifford says that's a start. Happy you're moving in a healthier direction. Exactly. That's a great way. Clifford has put it perfectly. So I'm very proud of you, Up in the House Records. So once you got all calmed down and everything, what is your favorite part of going there, Jem?
that's a good question. I've not really thought about my favorite part while I go there. I think for
Clifford,
me,
before we go there, Clifford Stark says, he says, it's really awesome that you were aware enough to see all that, Jem. And I think it is too. I think it's quite fascinating that she's so self-aware. And I think that you are much more self-aware than than many people who don't have autism. I've run into all kinds of people that have, outbursts and whatnot and get upset and aren't as aware as you are about,
yeah,
sitting down and thinking back and, self-assessing and self-analyzing. Let's see, if vaping, Up in the House Record says, if vaping ever stops, I would even be happy with it. I didn't even know vaping existed until I was on YouTube, to tell you the God's honest truth. I had no idea what it was. I knew about e-cigarettes, but I didn't know what vaping was. So I have been educated about vaping juice and whatnot. But yeah, it's really interesting that you can do that, especially in a stressful situation where I've been there, where you're hot and you're tired and you just feel nasty and you want to go home and take a shower and you're tired and you don't feel like dealing with something. And the fact that, you do have the sensory overload issues and whatnot, and you're still able in a police station to calm yourself down and then go and educate them is quite fantastic. It really is, Jem. I mean, like
yeah,
I said, I know people that are, supposedly, normal spectrum adults that can't do that. That they don't see themselves clearly enough and they can't self-assess.
Yeah, definitely. It's leads on to a really good thing that I want to show you that I got out of my wallet, just
Uh,
fiddling through my bag.
Let's
This
see. And
is
then
the
definitely I want to hold on. Let me put the camera onto you, and then I want to hear about your favorite part about it. I don't forget when I get off. When I go off a bit, I do remember. It stays in there in my
yeah.
head. Let me
This
see. What have you got?
this is the UK Autism Alert Card. It's a legal document that
Really?
people with autism can carry. It's from the National Autistic Society, which is our local big autism charity in the UK. And it basically has two parts. It has the Autism Alert Card itself here, which has my name written on and my dad's name as the emergency contact on the bottom. And it
Right.
basically
Wow.
gives professionals a contact detail. So if something happens to me, they can call my dad and they can read this card and go, oh, okay, Gemma's autistic. And it tells them how to interact with me. And then at the top here, we have this little information guide for professionals, which tells them how to work with me. So it basically has about different sections of autism. It's a little A4 checklist that has all the different areas about autism and what the behaviours are and things like that. So this stays with me all the time in my wallet. Never ever don't have it with me. And then on the back it has some phone numbers and more advice on the back so you
That
can.
is absolutely fantastic. I love that. And Wrestler Mania just came in. Hello, Wrestler Mania. Jamie, how
Hey
are you?
Jamie.
And he says, I love the idea of a card with the emergency contact. It would be great for the police as well. I agree. That's exactly what I was thinking as she was showing me that. I had no idea. Wrestler Mania, for people who don't know, he has an autistic son. Um, and he actually has a disability as well. He has Guillain-Barré syndrome. But that's a completely different topic. In fact, if you want to hear about it, you can go back to our disability discussions. Actually, he was there for the first one and the second one, and you can hear him talk about that or his channel. And let's see, what was he was saying? He said his son's home therapist was just there, and he just left. Yeah, my friend's son, they used to have a home therapist. In fact, they probably, I'm sure, still do, have him come weekly. And oh, wait, Up in the House Record says, hello, Linda. I haven't seen you in a while. Wait a second. I didn't see Linda. Oh, this thing is so small. I miss people. Linda, wonderful to see you, Linda. I've been sick, so I haven't seen you in a bit, and I'm back on Mondays and Wednesdays. Linda's House of Chill, fantastic to see you. So thrilled. But yeah, Jim, please, that card is just, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Jamie, do we have anything like that in the US? I've never seen anything like it.
I think you can. I think if it's. I believe it correctly. It's through the National American Autism Association. I think you do. You can get autism alert cards, or I think key rings, and it lets people know that you have autism or that you're a parent, carer, of someone with autism. The National Autistic Society actually does sends their stuff abroad as well, so you can actually order from these guys, and they actually send it out worldwide as well. So they've got quite a good lot of material that you can purchase. Also on this card, it actually has the brief bullet points about autism on the back, so it tells you about who I am. It says that this person has autism. It gives you the brief snapshot on the back. There's actually a advice phone number there as well, and an online link as well, I think, to give you more information about it. But this is God said to me. It literally comes everywhere with me. So if something happens to me, I can go, yeah, read this. I'm autistic. So
That's really handy, because if for any if it's a situation, or you're upset, or you're stressed, or you have sensory overload, there's something right there that can explain what's going on, and that you're not meaning to be aggressive, you're not meaning to do anything. You can hand it over and communicate with someone before things escalate to a situation where they're possibly not good, or so you can get help, so you're kept safe and whatnot. That's, I really love that. And Linda, yes, I was just talking about you. It's wonderful to see you. And Jess Rigby, yes, please, definitely needs to be talked about. Jess Rigby, You Stories. This is the original edition of You Stories. I actually have several subsections and special editions now. It kicked off. You Stories is not just about disabilities, it's about each individual person who's on it. But we also have a disability discussion once a month for both mental and physical disabilities, as well as caregivers, family, friends, and educators. And we have a panel each time. Both Gem and WrestlerMania have been, in fact, WrestlerMania has been on both editions of the monthly talk. It was supposed to be a one-time special edition of You Stories, and people liked it so much that I said we would do it monthly. Gemma has been on, and I'm sure she'll be on again.
Yeah, definitely.
And yes, I'd love to have you again. And Jess, I would love to have you on that. And if you'd like to come on You Stories, and disabilities are one of the things you'd like to talk about, please do. Like I said, You Stories is about, if you email me, go down in the description box. Not only will you see Gemma's information, so you can check out her channel and everything else like that. There's a schedule of the different shows that are going to be on. I'm on Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. And there's my email, BorgiaGlobal@gmail.com, and you can contact me. And I do a pre-interview first, and that's for the regular edition, which this is right now. We just happen to also be talking about disabilities because Gemma does a lot of autism awareness. She speaks to the police department. She's on a committee. She does many, many things. And she's also my friend now. So we've become friends through all this. And I have physical disabilities. You would never know it if you saw me walking down the street. But I came down with severe rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia, about 10 years ago. So absolutely, please email me. I would love to have you. And that would be fantastic. Up in the House Records, I love to see if people come to your panel to cover these youth stories. But we do different discussions, and the disability discussion caught on. So we do it once a month. Other discussions we have once, and it goes. The two that caught on the best were the disability discussion and the adult party. Those are the two most special edition ones that people love so much. So the adult one is this next time will be a costume party, and it's going to be the Wednesday before Halloween, which is actually the day after my birthday too. So I get to celebrate with you guys and dress up in costume, so it'll be fun. Anybody who's interested in being on, please contact me. And Puppet King is going to be a guest soon, and all kinds of things and whatnot. And I've got lots of pre-interviews to catch up on. But yes, please, anybody who's interested, contact me, because I really like to get it out there. And like I said, You Stories is all about your stories. And it's set up as a chat because I tell stories, the audience tells stories, and it's really interesting when you get to know people. It's very different than just taking a look at them, or even than just seeing them on their videos. And you don't have to be on YouTube. You don't have to have a channel. You can be a viewer. It's not just for YouTube people. It's for all people. But anyway, going back, that card is fantastic. But what do you think? Just one last thing on the police department, and then I've got some other fantastic things I'd love to ask you. What is your favorite part about going there? What do you enjoy about it? And what is something that you don't enjoy so much about it?
Oh wow. Okay. My favorite.
You don't have to answer that one if you don't want to.
No, I've got some good answers for you for that one.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I like to be, the honest, what you honestly see here.
Yeah, I said to you, I'm quite open, so I don't mind answering quite a lot of the questions. My favourite part has to be the awareness side of it. It's something that I feel the police don't really still understand, even though in the UK that we have our own Autism Act. We have done since 2009. And the police were one of the first people to sign this legislation. It's like, yeah, we agree to treat people with autism differently. We agree that it's a spectrum and we need to be trained and everything else. And it was left at that. And then all of a sudden it's like 2010, 2011 came, and there was cases of autistic people being mistreated. I was like, okay, enough's enough. I went onto forums. I started research and I was like, okay, this person's got autism. This person's got Asperger's. Okay, what's being done to protect them? Nothing. So I went on to an online forum and basically on the NAS website, I was like, hey, I think I might be autistic. I'm not sure, but I'm really shocked at the amount of people being abused who are autistic by the police, by the media. And they're like, oh, would you like to come online and do a forum? So I was like, yeah, okay, join one of their forums. And it was run by two police, and they were like, well, Gemma, you're not autistic, you don't act like it. I'm like, that's where you're wrong. The thing is, I'm anxious, I don't give eye contact, my body language is rubbish. And the way you talk to people is horrendous. I've heard police call autistic people scumbags. I've heard them say things like retarded. I'm like, no, why are you using this language? It's not right. It's not accurate. You're making one assumption because you've met one person with autism who may have speech difficulties. They may appear physically like they can't cope or communicate, but that doesn't make them that much different from me or make them a bad word. And it makes me annoyed that still words like that are being thrown around about me. I'm like, you don't even know what that word means. That word is the most harmful thing you can say, and it shouldn't be used. And that's another reason why I do what I do, because it still is doing pretty much, oh, well, if you have autism, you must be this. No.
Right, right. I've seen that people make a lot of assumptions about it.
Yeah. And it frustrates me because I'm female. I think the assumption is because I'm female, oh, well, you can't be autistic. Autism is males. No, it's not. And I follow this
I didn't know
American.
people thought that. I didn't know that they thought that it was male-only disease. WrestlerMania said the closest thing I ever found was from the Disability Independence Group. The closest thing I ever found was from the Disability Independence Group. The card is basic compared to Gemma's. There is something else I'm going to say I would love to know. Yeah, I actually would be curious to that too, WrestlerMania. I'll have to keep an eye out. And if I did find out, of course, I would tell you. And Linda's House of Chill says her daughter doesn't even want people to know she has autism. She had to come outside to listen to this, which is Linda, who I also, be for multiple reasons a wonderful guest, not only for You Stories, but for the disability discussion. And I know you emailed me, and thank you so much. I haven't forgotten you, but I was ill, and I'm so sorry to hear that you were dealing with a flare and also a paralyzed dog. I have been there for both, so I'm so sorry, love. That's a lot. Um, Go ahead, Jem. Oh yeah, let's see. Michelle says I'm a unified leader for Special Olympics, and we spread the word to set the R word. And the police, Up in the House Record says the police shouldn't use mean words like that, especially to people with disabilities, of wrong and unprofessional. Yeah, well, that's also why Jem's also going there to educate them.
Yeah.
But that's also why I asked her what her favorite things are about going there and her least favorite things are, because it's something newer. And I believe, I really haven't heard a lot of people doing that, and I think it's fantastic. Go ahead, Jem.
Yeah, and I must say it leads quite nicely onto the least favorite things for me to be. The least favorite things that I go there is because their judgmental attitudes towards disability in general really agitate me. And I went there a couple of weeks ago now, and they were talking about disabilities in quite some graphic nature.
Really?
They,
Just
yeah,
disabilities in general?
yeah, they they'd been in a training previous to when I got there. They'd been trained by someone who's a criminal barrister and some other things. And I walked into the room with my script and everything. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm here." Do my usual entrance, and they were sitting there joking. And they're like, "Oh, how much more disability training do we need? Like, do they think that?"
Really?
And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And I was flabbergasted, and I stood there. I was like,
Wow. I'm a little speechless myself. That's really rude. How much more disability training? You need more disability training if you're asking a question like that, because
yeah,
those of us with disabilities, whether it be mental or physical, we're people, and I genuinely don't think of myself as a disabled person. But
no,
if I think about it, I am. I mean, I've got a disease that's severe. I mean, every joint is affected from the neck down. I don't think of myself as, oh, I'm Lady Borgia, I'm disabled. I think of myself as me, like I always have before I was ever ill or whatnot. But it's true. So, that's offensive and incredibly insensitive. And Jess Rigby says people can be so judgmental they don't understand if they haven't been through it too. Very true. I've come in
yeah,
across some stuff that I'm going to bring up soon in July that was absolutely flooring. In fact, I told my physician, and both the nurse and my doctor were shocked that the town that we live in's recreation department did the things that they did towards myself. And I'll tell the story another day. It was absolutely flooring. And Wrestler Mania, he says the autism service dogs are able to wear autism awareness vests that help identify the human partner as autistic. That's cool. The dog is not trained on autism, just the humans associated with the disabilities. Yeah, in which WrestleMania is in the process. They're going through quite a long, what is it, 3 year process to have a service dog, which is very interesting. That's included in one of the discussions. I believe it is the second disability discussion. If you're interested in hearing about that, I leave them all up so people can go back and listen to them. And yeah, exactly, Jess. Your disability doesn't define you at all. It just, I don't think it does. I mean, but
no,
people can be very, that's something else. I'm a bit speechless, which doesn't happen often, but to say how much longer do we have to listen to, or how many do we have to have more of these disability training, enough to where you don't ask that, I think is the
no.
answer.
It made me quite shocked, but at the same time laughed. I got in there. I was setting up my flip chart and my pens and everything else, and I sat there, and they usually bring me a hot chocolate as a kind of normal drink, and I sat there, I said to them, I went, "Can I just ask everyone a question?" They're like, "Yeah, Gemma." I was like, "I just walked in here as a disabled person with autism." I said, "You are really offensive." I said, "I heard all
Yeah,
of you were joining in, not just one of you or two of you, but all of you in that group, considering I train between 15 to 20 officers at a time." And I said, "You were all sitting there making fun of someone with a disability." I said, "What about if I was to bring a friend with me who has severe disabilities?" Because I have a few friends who are disabled. I said, "You sat there
right.
and you laughed at them." I said, "You would get done for discrimination then and there. No issue about it." And they're like, "But they wouldn't report us." I'm like, "Yeah, they would." I said, "If they don't, I will." I said, "I will report you for
I
being
damn well would.
I would report you for being discriminating to me. I'm autistic. I'm female, and what you're saying is wrong. It's disgusting. It's foul language. I don't want to hear it." I
Right.
said, "If I hear this again, I'm reporting you. I don't care if I get in trouble." I said, "I do not care." And they're like, "Oh, don't get upset, Gemma." Yes, I will get upset because you're being discriminatory and you're discriminating people who I care about, people who are my friends on the computer. They go, "Oh, but that's on the computer, Gemma." No, it doesn't matter. It's still people. They're human, like I
There you
am.
go. Very
And
true.
yeah, and
People
it's
do seem
just
to forget, people on a computer, there is really a human on the other end. It's not just a robot. It's not a made up person. That's That's an interesting thing, that speaks to a lot of people, though. It's just a person on a computer. Yeah, well, that really is a human on the other end,
Yeah.
people. Just Wrigley says, oh, Papa King, interesting. Yes, they're making fun of you. They don't even realize it. Yeah, good point, Papa King. I don't think they did, and that's a sad case to not even realize what you're saying. And Jess Rigby, thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much. She says, awesome stream. I'll definitely email you tomorrow, Lady Borgia, regarding coming on. Big love, everyone. Love to you, Jess Rigby. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you. Yeah, what Paka King said is true. They didn't even realize what the hell they were saying. And it's offensive.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. So what is it that you really enjoy about going there?
I think I really enjoy it because it's a confidence booster. It gives me a passion, and I enjoy challenging authority. So for me, I'm like, haha, I've got you now. This is my time. You've got to shut
Nice.
up. You've got to listen to me. This is what I want to do. And it's not a two-way thing. They sit there, they listen to me for a certain time period. And afterwards, I'm like, okay, now it's your time. Now you can ask me questions. I'll shut up and take the questions. And they're like, Gemma, but like you don't be flexible. I'm like, yeah. Well, guess what? I'm autistic. When it's my time to talk, you listen to me. Like, well, we're police. Yes, I know that. I don't disrespect the fact. But when it comes to me being there and I have half an hour to give a talk, that
Then
half an
that's
hour
true. That
is
is,
my
you have the
time.
floor, and that's your time, and that's true. It is your time to talk, and their turn to listen and wait to have their time to ask questions. That's true, and that's good that you stand up for yourself that way, so they take it seriously. That it's not a joke or a game or a half an hour where they just fuss about. That's very interesting that they give you anything about that.
Yeah, and also when I educate them as part of my autism, I have a another disability called SPD, which is sensory processing disorder.
Hmm.
And SPD basically means that my brain works 6 seconds behind everybody else's to process the information. And they said to me, "Oh, you mentioned about SPD. You don't appear to have SPD." I was like, you just made the most second awful judgment against me. You don't know that SPD is very much linked with autism. It's a highly strong trait. It's one of the most common traits for females. And he goes, but you don't take ages to reply to me, or you don't sit there and go, oh, I'll just ignore everybody. I'm like, yeah, but in my head, I'm thinking of the question, I'm thinking how to reply. And by the time I've caught up myself, I'm like, oh, now I can reply to the question. It could be 2, 3, 4 minutes afterwards. I can sit there and go, oh, okay, I've got the answer now.
Right, exactly. Hey, Angel, what's up? Angels, come by.
Hey, Angel.
Awesome. And WrestleMania, sorry about that. That was my terrible typing. WrestleMania was just saying, wait, let me scroll back. Hello. He says many people are still confused about USA's HIPAA laws. Yeah, a lot of people are. Medical personnel cannot give out medical information. Very true, but the individual with a disability can tell anybody what they want. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You can get in a lot of trouble. In fact, I knew a doctor who got in trouble for taking a picture of a patient and sending it out via text. So that's
Oh.
pretty terrible. Yeah, it was a severely overweight patient, and wow, that was flooring, and I don't know why you would do that. Anyway, so I've got some questions for Jem because she does not just do things with autism, and that is, as we said, disability is not everything you are, and of course, by far, she has many other things that she does. Although we all applaud all the wonderful things you do. What are some of the things that you love to do, Jem, that have just your fun things that you love to do?
Yeah, sure. Well, my number one passion is my poetry, my creative writing. It's
Oh
a
yes, I love her poetry. Please go
my
on. She's got
outlet.
fantastic ones.
I'm sending you the poetry video. I've uploaded your poem. It's done in a video that's going to be coming to you tomorrow. So look out for that tomorrow, Lady Borgia. That's going to be uploaded tomorrow. So
Oh, thank
that's
you.
done, and then it'll be up
She has a
tomorrow. So it's
poem that
done.
I absolutely adore. She read it, and I'm going to put a copy of it up in my studio. Where you guys see me film is actually where I work. Instead of creating a filming studio, I just added lighting to my studio where I paint and do all the makeup, and added a backdrop, and I kind of created it in my space. So I have all my things up around me and everything else like that. So I particularly just love the poem that she wrote. It's fantastic. You guys will have to see the video that she's uploading of it. Gemma's quite talented with it. Go on. Please tell us
Yeah.
more.
So my poetry is a outlet that I use for my emotional kind of regulation to keep myself in check. So my social worker actually suggested it as a way to be mindful, and she's like, "Have you heard of poetry?" I was like, "Yeah, I watched poetry on YouTube, but I've never considered writing myself." And she's like, "Why don't you try? It doesn't have to always be perfect or rhyme or anything. Just try write some words down." So, okay. So I got one of my first ever notepads I got a few months ago, and I was like, write down how I feel then and there, and just mix words about. So okay. I remember writing some words down. I was like, frustrated. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm bored. I'm annoyed. The world sucks. And I remember just putting words there, going, what
Right.
can I write
Wrestle,
about
by the way,
this?
just quickly, Jim, WrestleMania, Jamie says he's got to go. He's going to spend some time with his wife. He's cracking jokes. He says, I figured I married her, so I might as well get to know her. He's cracking, but I just wanted to let you know Jamie was saying goodbye for the night.
Goodbye, Jamie. Thank you. See you later.
And I have a question from Angel. Please go ahead. So you start writing down words.
Yeah, in my notebook, my social worker told me to get some bits of paper. So I got my notebook and I started writing the words down that I felt during the day. So I'd sit here on my bed or in my lounge, and depending on how I felt that day, I'd write down the emotions, what day it was, and I often see the days as colours. So I will describe how I feel by
Oh, that's
colour.
cool. My mom said she used to associate numbers and colors. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. So I didn't realize I did it at first, and I used to write down the words in like certain colors. So if I was sad, it'd be black. If I was really happy, ecstatic like I am today, it's purple. Purple's a good day. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling joyous. I'm celebrating. Everything's going good. Then if I'm feeling medium okay, it'd be green. If I'm feeling anxious, it's usually orange. If I'm
Hmm.
feeling really bad, it's usually like a brown colour. And then if I'm feeling really, really bad, it's like a red. I'm like, no, that's it. I'm done. I can't do
What's
anything.
blue?
Blue for me is quite common. I've actually got on here, which leads nicely onto that. I have a blue sensory light option. This is my sensory light that I have, which I change up here in my light bulb behind me. I'll show
Hmm.
you. This is the blue one that I usually use at night time from in my bed. I'll have this on, but yeah, that's my sensory,
Oh,
and
that's a
I
pretty
can
blue.
change the color depending on how I feel.
Oh,
So it has, yeah, my dad bought this for me for Christmas, and I've only just started using it. So
yeah, I
it's
have little LED decorative lights that are in my studio, and I have, oh my goodness, where did I put the remote? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I can change the colors. I have a little thing like this, but
yeah,
it's like to Christmas lights, and I have them through so I can switch the color. I just have to remember when I'm filming to turn it off, or I'll get like a purple reflect, and all the sequins turn purple, and I'm like, oh Lord, I left the lights on.
yeah. I
But to
did that
turn
the other
them off.
day. I was filming a poetry video, and I was like, I'm gonna have to refilm that because I left the light on, so I had to delete
Yeah,
the video and then do it again.
everything had a purple cast or a blue cast, and I changed the colors at Christmas, and they can do all kinds of things. That's really cool that you have something so similar. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Yes, WrestleMania. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night too. And Angel, that's right, it's Monday. I don't know why I keep thinking it was Wednesday. I'm just, I'm completely like, I don't know, my days, my week are off. Angel just said she got off work, and I'm like, duh, that's right, it's Monday. It's not Wednesday. Angel's off on Wednesday. I don't know why I keep thinking it's Wednesday today. Yeah, Angel says I love the lights to switch around the different colors. So do I. That's why I keep them up in my I have them, I think I put them up originally for Christmas, and they're on a tape. So they're the little ones on a tape. And I just love lights.
Yeah.
Papa King says he thinks that's really cool, Gemma. Yeah, definitely. We're glad that you could make it, Angel. Um, let me scroll back. Hold on a second. My throat's going out. There we go. I got my seltzer. You guys will see me drinking these a lot now. I found out where I can get them inexpensively, where they ship them to me so I don't have to carry the case. And it's seltzer with actually real raspberry and real lime, which I could do the seltzer with the lime. I could make that at my house because I have a little seltzer thing and that machine too. But the raspberry couldn't. And for some reason with the raspberry, it helps my throat. So I live off these now, and they have like what 9 calories or something because there's no actual sugar or anything. Because I don't like the soda, but the bubbles and the lime and the raspberry help my throat. Papa, can you just probably wish it was Monday and not Monday, who actually wants it to be Monday? Well, with the way my week works, Mondays aren't really much different because I kind of work all days. So for me, when people say, oh, it's Monday, and I'm like, yeah, it's the same for me. But Gemma, but I can see that for everybody else. And Papa, that's a good joke.
Yeah.
What is your Angel wants to know 2 things about you, Jen.
Okay.
What is your favorite food? And she wants to know if you have a romantic interest in your life.
Okay, that's a good question. My favorite food.
That's one I wanted to ask too. Go ahead.
Yeah, my favorite food has to be pasta. I love pasta. Anything
I knew you were
Italian.
going to say that. How did I know you were going to say that? I was picturing it in my head, and okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just get it's so funny. It's happening more and more often lately, and I'm like, that's so weird. I hear things before they get said, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I absolutely adore pasta. I've always been since I was, pardon me, since I've been a child. My mum and my dad always have cooked Italian food in the house, especially my mum. She'd cook homemade lasagna. She'd do homemade pasta dishes, and I've just been brought up on it quite a lot. And I was like, okay, what's for dinner? Oh, pasta. Okay, what have we got in pasta? Oh, we've got cucumber. We've got tomatoes. We've got chilies. We've got. I'm like, oh, okay. So I've always been sort of brought up with pasta, seafood, so things like prawns.
Oh, those are so good. And yes,
Yeah,
I love the obviously. Well, I'm half Italian, Borgia, because that it really is my name. Um, yeah, you would have liked this morning. Then I was cooking at 6 o'clock this morning. I was cooking pasta with broccoli. For breakfast and with Parmesan cheese. A little bit strange, but it's what I wanted. So at 6 a.m., yeah, that's what I was cooking.
wow.
Oh, prawns are good. That sounds delicious. I haven't had my dinner yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's Italian food is just one of my specialities. I love anything to do with Italy. I think the food's great. I've been there on holiday, so I think it's just a passion. And Angel's second question, I don't currently have a romantic interest, but all I'll say is that I recently did a video explaining about my identity within the LGBTQIA community, and it's available if people want to check it out, and it explains more about my sexual stance on where I am at the
Oh,
moment
okay, cool. I have to
in
check that out.
myself.
I have
Yeah,
not seen that one yet.
I did. It's been
Oh, go ahead.
uploaded for about a month now. I think I did about a month ago. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little. Oh, wait, I just knocked out. Hold on 1 second. I got my big water bottle out, and I not. There we go. knocked out my earphones for a second. Um, that's really cool. I have to check that out. I've been watching people's videos, but I'm not as up to date as I was previously from being sick. And like I said to everybody, I'm seeing you, but because I watch on TV, I can't always comment. But I will be getting back to watching on the computer and stuff like that. Yeah, Public King says that actually sounds good. Angel saying, I love pasta and garlic bread and salad. And they're talking all about food. Majesty TV, hello, how are you, darling? What is up? Great to see you. So, Jem, you also mentioned because we're starting to wind. Wow, 2 hours goes by so fast. It's absolutely fascinating. Um, you were talking about also that you loved animals. I love to. I adore animals, horses and dogs. I grew up riding horses and having dogs and all that kind of stuff. What do you love?
Yeah, I've always been brought up with animals ever since I was quite little, and I think for me, especially as a young child, I spent a lot of time with my at my nan's house, and my nan, bless her heart, she's still an animal lover, but she had to rehome quite a lot of her animals. When I was younger, she had, I think at one count, I count she had 16 rescue cats and a
Oh,
dog.
yeah, both of my cats are rescue, and my dog, my poor dog, I can't even understand it. She's such a lovely dog. She's so protective. She's half black lab, and she looks a lot like a black lab with her head, but her body is a boxer, and she's all black with a little patch of white on her chest. But she was actually given back twice to the rescue shelter, and I don't understand like why anybody would ever do that. She's a wonderful dog. She's so protective. If I walk down the street with her, and she's solid muscle, she's 85, 90 pounds. She's strong as anything. But if somebody walks by us that she doesn't like, she lets them know, like, get away. She's so protective. Yeah, Angel says all her pets are rescues. Puppet King, he says, my dog is a rescue dog. We rescued when he was just a puppy. Yeah, my dog, she actually had a home and the couple divorced because she was 2 when I got her.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and when they do, she was, I guess, the husband's dog, and they had children and whatnot. Except in the divorce, the wife was being nasty, and she took her, and she had a different name then. And
Oh.
except, so she took her away from her dad, and her human dad. I view them as family. And I'm like, geez, why would you do that? And then she said, oh, she's terrible. She doesn't behave and whatnot. And in the notes in her file, you could see the trainer said, it's not the dog, it's the woman. Like it's the woman's, because often if people don't participate with the training, it's not the dog's fault, it's the person. So she ended up giving her back rather than allowing her ex-husband to have his dog back, which I'm not happy about. But then again, she never would have been my dog. So I don't, it's a weird thing. But then somebody else took her and gave her back. And it was so funny because I said to my family, I said, well, I want a dog, but I'll know when the right time is. Because for a while I didn't have a dog, and at one point I didn't have a dog or a cat because I was just so busy. I was never home, and I was working in the restaurant industry, and working such weird hours. And then when I was off, I was, out and about having fun. So it really wasn't fair to have a dog or a cat at the time. And I finally did. And I said, okay, now is the time. And I described the exact dog. And sure enough, within 3 months, we found her, and she was the exact dog I described. It was so funny. So um, I adore her. And both my cats rescues. One of my kitties, though, he's getting a bit senile. But anyway, go ahead, please. I could go on about my dogs and cats forever.
Yeah, I've been brought up with pets for quite a lot.
Yeah,
Like I
me
say,
too.
since I
Me too,
was
Jem.
younger, and I think the first time I actually had responsibility for a pet was when I lived with my mum. I think I was about 7, 8. I'm not sure, but my mum brought a dog that's called a lapsarop. So it's basically a little fluff ball dog.
Mm-hmm.
And he was called Maximilian. Loved him to bits. Loved my dog.
That was our dog's name.
And he was grey and black. He was probably about this big.
We had a golden retriever that my mother got when I was 16, and we all voted. Actually, my father and I named him Maximilian. That's just so funny because you hear Max, but you don't hear Maximilian very often. So it was just so funny you said that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's very cool.
Yeah, we bought him from a breeder, which I was quite shocked my mum went down that avenue because she was looking at rescue puppies before she sort of like, oh, we'll get a rescue, we'll retrain them and everything. And then my mum fell in love with this breeder she found online. She's like, no, we're going to go to a breeder. I'm like, okay. So we got Max home. We had him for about 9 years, I think it was. His behaviour started going really flippant when she became pregnant with my brother. And every time my mum used to rub her belly in front of the dog, or she would try and get the dog to go to the toilet outside, he would show his teeth, he would growl, he would bark.
Oh, he got older and started getting aggressive. Yeah, that can happen sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, he turned to my mum and took a lump out of her ankle, and my mum my mum took him to the vets to see if it was a behaviour thing or if we could do something to help him behave. And the vet was like, well, you're heavily pregnant, you're expecting your son, and you've got 2 other young children at home. And Mum was like, yeah, I've got my 2 daughters. And he was like, well,
it's a big risk.
Yeah, he basically said, I'm not being funny, but you've got 2 daughters who are here now, you've got a son who's on the way, and what about if he attacks your daughters? My mum was like, no way. It's not going to happen. And the vet was like, you don't know. He could turn on your daughter next. Could be your daughter with a bite in her arm or a bite in her leg. I'm like, no way. He's not biting me. So my mum sadly had the choice to either medicate him, which we tried for about 3 months, and he started getting worse. He growled at everybody. He went to bite a postman. And we're like, no way. So
yeah,
we had
you had to
put him
down. That's so sad. I'm sorry. I mean, I've had to do that a couple times. One time because my cat, very suddenly, he seemed fine. And apparently we found out that cats can withstand an immense amount of pain and discomfort without showing it. He was a wonderful cat. I got him through rescue. His name, actually, he ended up with the name Begus. He was a giant cat. I mean, he had a head this big and he was very heavy. He had a lot of extra weight on him because he had belonged to a woman, a very elderly woman. And what she used to do, she didn't go out very much. And that was her baby, and she would feed him. And naturally, he was a very, very large cat, like bone structure wise, he was a big boy. But she fed him so much that he became like the size of a basketball. And when she had to be taken off to the nursing home because she couldn't care for herself anymore, they had to take him to the rescue. So that's about time when I came in, and my previous cat, unfortunately, had been stolen. He was also a rescue. And my female, they had been matched. And so finally we'd given up. We couldn't find him. And I know my Murray would have never just disappeared like that, but that's another story. So we went to the rescue and I saw this cat and his name was Tiger. And he was a beautiful boy with these big eyes. And he came right to me and they told me his history. And he'd slimmed down a bit, but he was still pretty heavy. And I said, I just love him. And he flipped over on his back and showed me his tummy, which they only do that when they're comfortable. And the people went, wow, he doesn't do that. But they really liked him. They would let him out of his cage and let him go sit by the window. He had special privileges. So I took him, and he was his name went through a whole list of things. Tiger, and then I call him Big Boy Tiger. And through a series of events, it ended up being Begus. And that's a long story of explaining how it went from Tiger to Begus, but that was his name. And yeah, it was, thank you so much, Putt King. And one day I looked and he was laying on the carpet, and it was 9, 10 o'clock at night, and we didn't have the lights on. The TV was just on, my boyfriend and I. And I said, something looks wrong. And he says, well, because it's just he's laying on the carpet. And I said, no, he doesn't look right. He's just the way he's laying. And we'd been out, and I went and picked him up, and his head flopped, and we took him to the vet the next day, and sure enough, he had a huge tumor, and they said it had blown up overnight. And actually, I lost my first cat when I was a little girl, 6 years old, to cancer. And that's the one unfortunate thing, cats can get cancer, knock on wood. And I lost one of my rats to cancer as well. But I said, how could he have had this? And he said it was probably small, and then very suddenly it blew up, which happened to my dog too. And on her head, it went from a little pea-sized thing to the size of a softball. And we ended up, they said by his age, he was 11 or 12 years old, and we didn't want to put him through surgery because he was older, so we just put him down. And so we've done it a couple of times. It's definitely, I know how it is, but they can get, especially when they get older. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, you lost your cat to cancer too, Putt King. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's happened to me a couple times. But with the getting the behavior changes and the senility with the dog, that's similar to what's happening to my cat right now, but he's not aggressive in like a way that hurts. He's very funny. He's still normal. He's about 15 years old from what we can figure out. And he's definitely my cat. He's, very protective of me. But he's gotten very skinny. He's also a very big cat. I like big male cats, I guess.
Yeah.
I keep picking like big boys, and it's the big head. He's very tall. He stands up and he holds on, and he can stand up on his hind legs really well, and he stands at the kitchen counter holding, and he's very tall, big cat, and he eats from my hands, but we think something's gone wrong in his head, and they can't quite figure out. But no matter how much he eats, he doesn't gain weight.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, he's very thin, but he's still very active. But he gets stuck when it's in reference to food. He gets like a little bit wonky, and he'll get stuck meowing. And I have to speak to him. And then finally, once he eats his dinner, like right around his 5 o'clock is coming, like he won't stop. And anything having to do with meat, chicken, whatnot, this, that, any food, he wants to see what you're eating. Yeah. And then he'll ask for some. And I even put a little plate for him at the table one day, because he came up and got on the stool and stood at the table and just put his little hands, and he's a tuxedo cat. Aww. And he, with the little white gloves, and he went up and he stood on the stool, so he was tall enough to stand and eat at his plate at the table, just because I thought it was funny.
That sounds like my dad. That sounds like my dad's dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my dad's dog. When we first got her, she was a rescue, and we got her when I was, I think I was 9 or 10. My dad was working for the local pet rescue centre, and he was working there as a maintenance handyman. And my dad texted me one day. He's like, Gemma, I think we're going to get a dog. I went, what? He's like, I know I don't be at home much, and because I'm working away and everything. I was like, Dad, do you really think it's practical with 2 under 16-year-olds looking after a dog? I don't think so. And my dad was like, no.
Yeah, that is a point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, a dog, that's a good phone call. But yeah, you have a point.
And then we went to meet him. I said, I'm fending off this dog, Gemma. I think we're going to bring her home. I'm like, okay. So we went to meet this dog, and my dad fell in love with this Alsatian/sheepdog. I was like, right, Alsatians I've heard are dangerous. They are trained to attack people because they're often used as police dogs over here in the UK. And I was like, Dad, are you nuts? What about if she attacks someone? What about if she hurts someone? I was like, no, she won't. I'm like, Dad, she's been abused. That's why she's in the home.
One
And
second, Bridget has to get going. She says she's just
okay,
been here listening, and she says she loved getting to hear your story, Jem. She just wanted to say goodnight to you as she went by. Thanks so much, Bridge,
good
and
night, Bridget.
I will talk to you soon. And guys, don't forget next Monday, Bridget will be on with me with our show, You Stories, Beauty and the Bees, the two bees, the makeup ladies, the girls. So definitely come back for that, and also Wednesday too. I'm back, guys. But yeah, don't forget next Monday is Beauty and the Bees. Go ahead, Jem. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, basically we got her from the local pet rescue centre, and my dad was like, "Oh, how do you feel about meeting this new dog?" So we went there, me and my sister, and we fell in love with her. As soon as we met her, she was wagging her tail and jumping up at us, and she stood up to here on me with her paws. She came up to like here, considering I'm quite a short person, and so I was like, how do I get this dog off me? This dog stood up to there on me. I'm like, help. And then the warden comes round and tells the dog to get down. And I'm like, okay. And then the dog wouldn't leave me alone. She kept sniffing me. She was constantly behind me. I'm
Oh
like,
my goodness.
this dog won't leave me alone. Ah. And my dad said, don't panic. I mean, she likes you. I'm like, okay. And we took her home 6 weeks later, and I loved her. I used to walk her,
Oh,
I'd feed her, stroke her for hours on end, and she recently sadly had to be put down
oh, I'm
without my
sorry.
acknowledgement as well, which was quite sad. I found out on Facebook that
Oh, we did. We talked about that. I
yeah.
remember that. We talked about that because I told you about when my dog died and they didn't tell me. I was at a sleepover
Yeah,
and I was a teenager. And for some reason, this was the dog that was like my nanny. She used to sleep next to my crib. Um, oh, Tiffany, wonderful. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I definitely look forward to having you on. Um, but yeah, I was in shock too. I was at my friend's house. I came home and she was already gone and everything. And I was like, and I knew it because I kept calling and wanting to come home and saying
yeah,
I want to come home the night before. And they're like, no, no, stay at your friends. And I kept calling and calling and calling, and I kept bugging them the next morning, like, come get me, like I want to leave. And I never did that when I was on a sleepover. It was always a
no,
fun thing. And the last thing is like, oh, I want to come home and just sit there and have a sleepover with my friends. But no, yeah. So I know how you feel, Jem. How'd it happen?
yeah. And I went onto Facebook because I saw my sister had uploaded some photos. I was like, okay, what's my sister up to? And I clicked on it. It's like, because our dad's dog was called Taz, and it was like R.I.P. Taz pictures. I was like, okay, someone's got some explaining to do. I got really angry, upset, frustrated. I was like, text myself, like, you better call me right now. And she's like, what do you mean right now? I was like, now. Because you've got some explaining to do to me. And she's like, uh-oh, I take it you've not been told. I was like, take it about what? And she's like, yeah. So then my dad rings me. He's like, Gemma, before you explode at me, before you explode at anybody, calm down. I'm like, you got 5 minutes to explain to you before I kick off. And they're like, unfortunately today we had to put the dog down. She'd been struggling, which I knew she'd been ill for a while, but I didn't realise it was as bad as I thought it was. And my sister and my auntie had to take the dog to the vet, and the vet basically said that
Oh,
she was beyond saving because she'd
yeah,
had arthritis, she'd had problems with eating, and basically towards the end of
yeah.
her life,
To be
her
humane.
her back legs had gone under her, so she was walking like that. Instead of walking with her paws like that, she'd walk backwards. So I remember saying to my sister, "What does that mean?" They go, "Oh, she's getting old." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." And then when my sister put up a picture of the dog wrapped in a blanket, and I was like,
Oh,
"You've got to be kidding me! Are you serious? What?" And then my auntie texts me a picture and says, "Rest in peace to Taz, put to sleep at a certain time." I'm like, how dare you? How dare you go onto Facebook not tell me my dog is dead after 16 years of living with it. I didn't know that she'd gone. I didn't know she'd been put down, nothing. And I said to you on the Hangouts, I was like, what the hell am I going to do? What? And I took about 3 days to actually calm down. I'm upset. I'm clearly angry. I'm overwhelmed. I'm shutting down. And my dad called me about a week later. He's like, how are you doing? Like, how do you think I'm doing? My dog's dead. I'm upset. I'm confused.
And
I
Paul
don't know
Michael
what.
David Bainey says that's awful, Gemma. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And Divine Tiffany says she's so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. And I loved my dog. I loved her. She was my best companion. She
Yes.
was someone who I would talk to for hours, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she'd like sometimes she'd tilt her head, look at me, like I'd be like, "Yeah, you don't get it, but oh well." I'll just sit here
They
and
listen. They listen. I talk to my cats and I talk to my dog. And do you have any cats, Gemma, or no?
No, I used to adopt my nana's. Well, my nana's cat's called Tigger. It's quite funny. You said earlier about Tiger. I was like, that's really bizarre because the cat I had was called Tigger. It's black and
Oh,
white
that's so funny.
striped.
We both had dogs, Maximilian. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and my nana's cat was called Tigger, and it's black and white striped. It's about this long, a shrimpy little small cat. And my nan said to me, "Do you want to learn some responsibilities?" I was like, "Yeah." I was about 9, 8 at the time. She's like, "I'll let you adopt one of my cats." So I used to buy all the cat food. I'd buy it toys. I would brush it. I'd groom it. I'd wash it, put it in the bath, everything. And then as I grew older, it kept going missing, run away from my nana's house. I was like, "Where's my cat gone?" And I found it on the next door neighbour's drive. And she's like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do with the cat. I think it's been run over." I was like,
Oh
"Okay."
no.
So I had to take it to the vet at being 9 years old. My nan, I was like, what do we do?" And the vet was like, "You can either medicate it to help with the pain, or it in its best interest, because of the broken bones it's got and the amount of blood that it's lost, it would be easy to put out its misery." I was like, "Okay." And my nan was like, "It's basic, Jim, it means death or medicine till it dies." I'm like, "Okay." So I remember my nan having a needle put inside of its paw, and she's like, "Jimmy, you don't want to see this." And I literally had to look away. I was like, "Nope, don't want to know, don't want to do that, don't want to see it." And I remember the next day, my nan's like, "It's in cat heaven now, Gemma, it's out of pain." I'm like, "That's not the point. The point is I spent 12 years, that was my cat, and it meant a lot to me." I'm like, damn, I'm so unlucky with pets. That's why I now don't have any, because I think I'm too scared of going through the death process again. I'm like, nope, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Divine Tiffany said her dogs are her family to me. That's the same as me. And Public King said when we first got his cat in 1997, we thought about naming her Tiger because she was so wild. We decided on another name. But yeah, that's definitely one thing about having furry animals, even horses, and Angel as well. I used to ride a horse at my camp, and I was the only one who was allowed to ride her. She was very spirited, but except she became a bleeder, which is a muscle condition that happens to a lot of racehorses because they're running so fast and they're so hard. For the longest time, I was the only one allowed to ride her. And they had to give me gloves because the reins, they could rub your palms raw. But she was such a good horse, but at least she was around though still, and I could still pet her and stuff like that. So that was fun. Exactly, Putt Putt. He says that's how our cat felt and our dog feels to his family. Exactly. They're not pets at all. But I don't know what I'd do without them. And I know my buddy is getting up on 15 and whatnot. And I keep telling him, don't leave me yet, buddy, my William. But even so, when they do go, I believe they go over the Rainbow Bridge and then they feel better. So they're not suffering, which is, a lovely thing. But I have looked at the time and we've run, it's about 2.5 hours in, and it's getting late here. And Jem, it's got to be incredibly late where you are. You are Like
It's
what?
currently 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, because you're
Tuesday now. Tuesday
yeah,
evening.
exactly. It's getting late for you because it's 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, you're 5 hours ahead, and that's what I thought. You were 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I thank you everybody for coming. And Gemma, I thank you so much for being a guest. But I think we're going to wrap it up now because I haven't eaten my dinner, and both I know Gem needs to go to bed, and I'm going to need to go to bed soon. And I can tell that my voice is about to go out. So, but these are fantastic. These are working, these seltzers. So you'll see them quite frequently. Who knows? Maybe they'll send me some. I kid you. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you so much for being on. I really enjoyed it. There's so much more we could talk about. I'd love to have you back on again, and I'd love to have you on the disability panel again sometime. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Jem. Thank you everyone for coming. I missed you all so much. It's wonderful to see you guys again. And I will be here regularly, and my videos are coming back and everything else like that. And yes, my makeup videos are coming. I really will show everybody how I've been doing the stuff I've been putting on Instagram. And Jem and I are going to, once I get a little less busy, we're going to start doing our videos with makeup and autism, so she can learn, and maybe we can help some other people too. So that would be really fun to work together and collaborate on that. So everybody says, great job, ladies. Awesome stories, Jem, Divine Tiffany, Angel. Thank you so much, everybody. And most of all, thank you, my friend Jem. If not for my live shows, I would not have met you and got to talk to you. So I'm so glad to have them, and so glad to have met you and have you a friend. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I will see you again on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And check down in the description box. Look at Jem's channel. I know most of you already do, but for anybody on the replay, please check it out. Thank you for listening also on the replay. And check out the schedule in the description box. And I promise I'll have those videos soon. Health, wellness, lifestyle, and makeup. So I love you all. Mwah. Love, Lady Borgia.